Yes, people. How are we doing? Hope you're all well. Wow, I don't know what's going on there with tech issues. I can hear an echo, but I think we're good. Big up to you all. I hope you're all good. I hope you're all well. Race for Europe's back. 12th man is back. And if I'm honest with you, it's going to be a good show. Um, I can see everybody other than Errol. Where's he gone? Has he dropped off already? My goodness. Where is the man? Where is the man, the myth, the legend? Here he is. We dropped him. We dropped him, but now he's back. Listen, big up everybody. It's good to see you all. I'm glad you're all well. I've been looking forward to tonight. We've got a full house somehow. I don't know what happened yesterday, but something must have happened for everybody to be available and want to come on time, which is, let's be real, one of the first times in a long time. But we're here, people. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow Football Prizes today, who are the sponsors of this. They've got an unbelievable opportunity for all you gooners out there. It's probably one of the best Arsenal selection of prizes that we've seen in some time. There's 47 instant wins. So get over to Football Prizes. Link is in the description and make sure that you are in that to win it. We've got a Cesc Fabregas LED frame. We've got a Thierry Henry and Bergkamp shirt signed, and there's many more of current players, Saliba, Saka, Martinelli and co. So please make sure you go check that one out as well. Click on the link in the description and you'll see the prize. It is literally 39 pence for a ticket. So please make sure you get in there. That is this month only. So you've got to get in there very, very quick. Big up to a full panel tonight. We've got Billy in the house. We've got LB. We've got Deji. We've got Errol. We've got Dan. We've got Wolfie. We've got Charlie. And the man of the moment is Mr. Pete Davey, the Newcastle fan, who I felt like I won yesterday as well. You know, I get told I'm a Newcastle fan enough, bro. I was really happy that you won it. And I must say, though, big up to yourself, man. Big up to you. I just felt it yesterday. All of the fans that were being panned on were Newcastle.
You do know they knocked your team out of a semi-final, and you're chatting about.
I'm worried about this one. I just don't want Liverpool to win stuff, man. Come on, calm down. Liverpool have won enough.
Lost to the winners, Errol. We are gracious enough to say that.
Exactly. We lost to the winners. Yeah, maybe that's going to be a running theme. If you beat Arsenal, you might win something. You know, Dan United might win the FA Cup. Newcastle won the League Cup. And then you've got Real Madrid, the Champions League. Maybe it's going to be, if you beat Arsenal, you win everything. But you know what? There's only one place to start. And I'm going to start with Pete, and then I'm sure everybody wants to have a chat with Errol. So Pete, congrats, my bro. Congrats.
Thank you, boys. It's been an emotional 24 hours. Not gonna lie. Lots of tears. Lots of just emotion. It's for someone like myself, I never thought I'd see Newcastle win a trophy. Going back years, never thought it was going to happen. Got close. Never quite got over the line, but I'm so proud of those boys. So proud of the boys yesterday. I thought we fully deserved to win that match. I thought they executed the plan perfectly. I thought Eddie Howe was absolutely sensational again in a big match, in a big moment, showed his credentials, and to see those boys lift that trophy it just means everything, absolutely everything. Honestly, it's just. I feel absolutely drained today. Feel absolutely drained, full of emotion. It's been an amazing 24 hours. But the party's going to continue, boys. It is. Between now and the end of the season, I'm just enjoying every single moment of this. Best season I've ever had supporting Newcastle United, because we put a trophy in the cabinet. I never thought I'd see it. So,
facts.
Yeah. So good.
Bro, how good were you though? Because I watched it and I just thought, wow, there's only one team turned up here. You were so good, man. Like I thought Livramento, I'd not seen enough mention from him. Locked up Salah. I thought Bruno was just ridiculously good, man. Tonali as well. Isak, you know what he's about, bro. Like it was just pretty much perfect from you guys, I've got to say. And Liverpool will be disappointed. Made it a bit squeaky bum time at the end with Chiesa's goal, but if I'm honest with you, there was only really one team winning, in my opinion, from what I saw, Pete. You must be buzzing, bruv.
It's hard to just go around individual players, Potts, because you could have said it for every single player. For me, I was looking at Kieran Trippier. I thought Kieran Trippier had the game of his life at right back. I thought not just his ability on the ball, but just his leadership. That experience just really told in that back line. I thought Dan Burn was absolutely colossus at the back, not just because of the goal, He won every single header, every single challenge. Tino Livramento up against Mo Salah. You're right, it hasn't been spoken about enough. 100% duel wins, 100% tackles wins. Didn't lose a 1-to-1 with Salah for the whole game. Now you talk about one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world, and he had him locked down. We thought that game, that battle was gone, losing Lewis Hall for the rest of the season. Well, Tino Livramento just said, "Hold my beer, I'll do the job for you," and he was absolutely sensational. He really, really was. And I'll be honest, Salah looked defeated after about 20 minutes, and I didn't really see him do too much after that. And that's just the defence. You've talked about the boys going forward. I thought Jacob Murphy turned up. He hadn't been great for the last few weeks, but I thought he was excellent. I thought Harvey Barnes was really, really good down our left-hand side, created a lot of problems. And yeah, Joe Linton's just an absolute fucking man mountain. He is an absolute man mountain. There's no player in the Premier League like him. And opposition fans fucking hate him, and I can understand why, because he is an absolute bastard. But he's our bastard, and we absolutely love him to bits. I could go for all the players. Nick Pope, what a save in the second half. What an instinct save in the second half from, I think, Jones. Superb. Didn't have too much to do, but when called upon, he was absolutely brilliant. But and yeah, the only downside was, the only disappointing thing was, and Paul Sprague's put it in the chat, is that Liverpool scored, because I'll be honest, I don't think they deserved it. I don't think they deserved the goal. If anything, we probably deserved to score a couple more. And that's no disrespect to Liverpool. Errol, I'm sure we'll have his say on that, but I thought we deserved to win by a bigger margin. That just shows how well we played and how much we wanted that final and how much it meant to the players, the fans, everybody, the Newcastle United boys. So I am absolutely fucking buzzing. My last drop of Hennessy is in here. I enjoy this bad boy during the show. So big up to you all. Big respect.
Pete, can I ask you a question, Pete?
Big up to you.
Is it fair to say you won that final the day before with your fans? The way they just were all over London, Covent Garden and everything. Like, that would have lifted the players, just seeing clips of that. I thought your fans deserve a massive shout out as well. You know, the stadium was so black and white. It was just beautiful to see. And yeah, I was like, just as an outsider looking in, just backing you boys, man, just because of the fans and what you could tell it meant to them. I think you won it off the pitch as well as on it.
Boy, I say it all the time. I say we're one of the best fan bases in the world, and I mean it. We've just not been able to have the platform to show it, and not really been fighting at the top table to be in the position of winning trophies or anything. Whenever we've been to a final or close to, you've seen what the fans are all about. That's no different to what we did at Trafalgar Square 2 years ago. This is what Newcastle United fans do. They will follow they'll follow their team near and far in their droves. There was thousands upon thousands in London yesterday. Had no ticket for the game, didn't care. Sold out all the pubs across London, up and down London, just to be in the vicinity, just to be close enough to be part of that celebration. And this is the thing. This is not just an initial, just because we won a trophy, Newcastle fans turn up. Like, if we're lucky enough to win multiple trophies in the years to come, you'll see this every time. This is what Newcastle United fans are. This is what they do. And they've been doing it for years. And yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all, Wolfie.
Pete, can I ask a question? With Eddie Howe, I'm not saying that he was ever in danger of getting sacked at the end of the season, so please don't read into that too much. But does this give the guy more time, the fact now he's got that trophy and it's like he's taking you that step further in what he wants to achieve, what the ownership wants to achieve? But obviously this summer they're going to have money to spend by the sounds of it. So does this give the guy a lot more time? You know, we all talk about it. Was he the right person to take you to the next step? Well, surely this is the next step, isn't it? Winning a trophy.
I think he deserves unbelievable credit yesterday. I thought he absolutely schooled Slot. Absolutely schooled him. I thought he was really good, man. And he's done that to a number of top managers now as well. I know that I'm not a huge fan of Mikel Arteta, but he's schooled him in many, many games. And he's now done it with Slot as well. And they're the two that are at the top at the moment, whether you believe they need respect or not. I think Slot and Arteta have proved to be two of the better managers this season. And Eddie Howe has schooled them both. So I think he deserves an unbelievable amount of credit. Do I see Eddie Howe winning a title with Newcastle? That could be a different question. But he certainly proved he's won a trophy with you. And I think he's done a really good job, man. So yeah, he deserves credit, Pete, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there'll be any questions about his position at Newcastle United now, and it's actually nice to see that the Eddie Howe outers, the small minority of the fan base, all either crawling back into their holes or actually changing their minds and coming out and say, you know what, fair play, I was wrong, and respect to them for doing that. Because he's done we've had Kevin Keegan, who we absolutely love, King Kev, Sir Bobby Robson, the absolute legend that he was. But for me, Eddie Howe surpassed both of them because he's put a trophy on the table and said, I've delivered this to you because you wanted this for 70 years. And for that, it sounds maybe over dramatic, but he'll be immortal for Newcastle United because he's the one that broke that duck. He's the one that stopped the rot. And I really hope now, and I believe it will be, I think this will kick Newcastle United on. I think it's fallen nicely. What we're not talking about and what we've not even mentioned is that we guarantees European football, albeit Europa Conference. So that takes an additional pressure off. Some people will say, oh, maybe they'll just slip back into their ways and just kind of be on the beach. I don't think it will. I think it's going to spur Newcastle United on for the rest of this season. And I think Eddie Howe will be giving them a few days rest and then calling them back in and saying, let's go get Champions League football.
I still think you're going to get Champions League, bruv. I know Conference League, you're cool with it, and a lot of Newcastle fans will say, yeah, let's go have some fun in that. And do you know what? If you were going into it, you'd probably be the favourites to win it if you did qualify for it. But I do think you're going to get higher than that this season. I've said Champions League before a ball was kicked. I'm going to stick with it now that it's top 5. I still fancy Newcastle to sneak in it. But LB, let me ask you something quick on Newcastle before we come to Errol and Liverpool. You've said quite a few times with me that you think Newcastle have got the best midfield in the league with that Tonali, Joe Linton and Bruno G partnership, or trio as you call it, sorry.
Maybe in the world. Maybe in the world.
But yeah, and my next question was on that, to touch on that. Do you think they've got one of the best strikers in the world, if not the best striker in the world right now? Because a lot of people...
Listen, I'm very positive about Newcastle. I always glaze Newcastle, so much so that my chat always tells me to stop glazing them. But I'm also very critical of them and very critical of Howe at times, because I look at the team. I genuinely don't think people realize just how good a team they are and just how good the players are. Like, you go through the players they've got, like D-Pit, man, fucking Bruno G, Tonali, Joelinton, Gordon, Isak. Look at the defenders. Livramento, Hall, Byrne. These are fucking good players, man. And I think they've, honestly, like on the league, I think they've underperformed this year. So I'm happy that they've got the trophy for Pete, because I think they're a top side. All 3 of their midfielders walk straight into my midfield. They walk straight in. If City were to buy all 3 of them midfielders today, they'd all play the next game. That's how good they are. They're unbelievable. Bruno G yesterday, oh my God. I can't believe it. Like, he was just a joke. Domination. Complete domination. Gravenberch, McAllister had nothing on those guys yesterday. Yeah. And they're just unbelievable. I said it for a long time, man. Do you know what I mean? That midfield is up there with one of the best in the world. Yeah, Tonali. How the hell did no one else get this guy, man? I didn't realize this guy was 24, by the way. Yeah. I thought it was like 30. I only clocked it like a month ago. It was 24.
Mate, 55 million LB. 55 million.
It's crazy that like none of the Champions League sides at the time went and got this guy, because he is just a joker. Bruno Chito, are the things I'd do fucking hell to have him in my team would be ridiculous. Joe Linton, I've said for a long time, I think he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. You can't get the ball off him. He reminds me a lot of Yaya Toure. And then obviously you've got Isak up top, man. So for me, yeah, I thought Eddie Howe was under pressure, because I look at the team and I thought that's an unbelievable team. He needs to deliver. And he's now delivered. He's now delivered that trophy. So I think, like Pete said, I think the people who were questioning Howe, for me, I hear it. Why? Because that team is class. You've got to lay off him now, because he's delivered the goods. He's delivered that trophy. And it's about now, can he take him to the next step? But he's got to have credit in the bank now. He's got to be given a bit of time to do that. But yeah, honestly, man, it's crazy. Yesterday, Newcastle just dominated him. And we can talk about were Liverpool tied or whatever. I just thought quality-wise, Newcastle were clear. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, fair play, man. Big up, Pete. I know what it feels like, obviously, when we beat Stoke in the FA Cup final, man. I know what he's feeling. He's buzzing right now. But yeah, man, big up to you, innit? Big up to you, Pete. And yeah, listen, if you want to sell any of those players in the summer, Oh, I'll take half of the team, man. It's crazy, man.
But LB,
Yeah,
that's the key. If they keep that core together, I genuinely think Newcastle are 3 players off and a bit of squad depth of a title challenge. I think you need a right winger. I think you need another centre back and another keeper.
Yeah.
Outside of that, each of those positions, you could argue
Need
each
a
of those
backup
players.
9 as well. Need a backup 9 to Isak. Need an alternative to Isak as well, because Callum
Yeah,
Wilson.
but I'm talking about, a fully fit Newcastle team is 2 or 3 players shy of having a title challenging team. That's how high, because every position you look at, you could argue they're in the top 3 in the league for each of those positions outside those 3 I just mentioned. And this is all done, by the way, Pete. Let's not let them forget, with the restrictions of PSR that are holding Newcastle back from literally blitzing this league.
I keep saying it, Wolfie, and I don't think sometimes people listen, and not necessarily on this panel, but just in general, is it there's no other team in the Premier League, no other team in this top half of the Premier League would have gone 3 windows without signing a first team ready player and been able to still function and to be able to deliver that trophy. There's no other team in that top 10 that could have done that. 3 fucking windows. We're going into our 4th window without signing a first team ready player. The only player we did sign was on a free. Lewis-Skelly, gone to Juventus. They now want to sell him on, but they've got to pay us 20 million first. Absolutely superb business. And that's it. And so this is it. And this adds into why Eddie Howe will now be given the money. Like, he's put the trophy on the table. They will give him the money in the summer to go, right, who do you want? We'll deliver. And even better, if we've got Champions League football to offer on top of that, it will be a higher caliber of player.
And you know what, Pete? This is why I keep on telling people as well. Like, when people are talking about Isak leaving, I'm like, I keep saying to people, if I'm Isak's mate or I'm his agent and he says to me, "Oh, LB, I could go Liverpool, I could go Arsenal," I'm like, I'd say, stay at Newcastle. That, honestly, I swear down, I'd say stay at Newcastle, because Liverpool are about to go through a big rebuild. Yeah, Arsenal don't win anything, and whether you go there, you still might not win anything. Just stay at Newcastle, and then in a year's time, if it doesn't really look like things are progressing, Harry Kane, he's going to be coming to an end at Bayern Munich, and Lewandowski at some point has to end at Barcelona. 2 big clubs that were willing to take you. I don't see the rush for Isak to leave. Tonali's only 24. Again, he's chilling. Bruno G is the only one who I look at and go, he's 28. Does he want to push a move to try and go for that Champions League? But then you listen to the stuff he says, you'll watch his interviews, and you're like, this guy ain't going anywhere. So I think they might hold on to all of them. And if I genuinely don't think Isak should leave, man. I genuinely don't. I think he should stay there at least 1 more year.
Agreed.
I thought if one of them was going to leave, it would have to be because we didn't get European football. And I've always maintained this. I've always felt, even with Europa League, for example, that we'd keep all 3 of those top players. With us getting European football now, because people don't realise, the argument would be, if we did only get Europa Conference League, you think the owners and the chairman and Eddie Howe are turning around to these boys and saying, you can fucking win this. Go and win yourself a European trophy. And that's even more of an incentive to go back to back and get 2 trophies in 2 seasons. Like that would be the incentive on the back of that. So I think even now, we're in a great position. But you're right with Isak. Isak's still got 3 years left on his contract.
Still 3 years left.
So why, I think two things will potentially happen with Isak, and neither of them are him leaving the club in this summer. Isak will either go, you know what, let's wait another year. Let's see if we can deliver Champions League football again. And if not, I've got 2 years left on my contract. The magic 2 years where you either sign a new deal or you move on. And that's another year.
Or Pete, he might just sign a new contract with a release clause in his contract. Do you know what I mean?
There's number 2. And they're my 2 things that I think will happen.
I'd be very surprised if Isak left. I'd be surprised now if any of them left. The one that I think might leave is Bruno. But then when you listen to his interviews,
no one can afford to pay 100 mil for Isak this summer. Who can actually afford to do that in the Prem?
Well, it'd be more than 100 mil, let's be honest.
Exactly. This is what I mean. Like, who can afford to pay that money this summer?
Forest can.
No one.
Well, no, Liverpool can. They didn't spend a fucking penny in the summer.
No, but Liverpool can't spend 100
Arsenal can, but they won't. Liverpool can, but they won't.
Liverpool can spend 100 mil. They spend.
Spurs aren't in a problem with PSR, are they? But they don't have the ambition to do it exactly. The smile on the faces of everyone's.
I don't think. Honestly, I don't think.
They'll be making little.
The only team The only team that I think would maybe try and slap that money
Barcelona.
down. It isn't in the Premier League. It's PSG. PSG are interested in Isak just as much as Liverpool and Arsenal. They're the only ones that I think would probably slap that money down.
There's going to be bids coming in, but I think you're safe for another season. And I think same with Bruno as well. I think now that they've won something together, they'll then get together and go, right, let's see what we can do to build on this and go from there. And I don't really have to be honest, I didn't really want to be bringing it up because after chat, hate it when I bring up Isak anyway, leaving. And I don't think it's the time to be talking about that, to be fair. I know it's come out today. I've done a show on it earlier with Curtis. I didn't want to bring it up, say, respect for Pete and the Newcastle lads, it really, because once you win something, you don't then say, right, who's leaving now? We've won something then. That's not really how you should look at it, man. So for me, I'll be respectful. I think they deserve it. And do you know what? I think it's time. I think it's time.
Bring him in.
Just before you do, I was speaking to my missus about because I can't cook, right? So she was talking me through stages of cooking. So you gotta wash your hands. So I just want to check with everyone on the panel because preparation apparently is key. I want to check everyone's hands are washed, and also I borrowed this off my daughter so that it gets a little messy. We are ready to go. But sorry, I just want to check everyone's prepared and ready.
Listen, we've all washed our hands. We're all ready. We're all starving as well.
Bring in a main course. Bring in a main course, Pots.
Let's bring it in. You know, Errol doesn't normally have to sit there on mute and listen. It's been a while, to be fair, since he's had to do that. He's had a very good season in the Premier League, but it's time. It's time to sit there and listen to what people have got to say. I'll bring in the starter. I'll bring in Deji for a starter, and then we'll go to mains. What you got, Dej?
Yeah, and Dan, awfully grateful, and Pete, big up to you, and your club doing what they did. I've got my own opinions on what I think about Newcastle's achievements. I think you've done a great job for the city. You've put the city of Newcastle on the map, and what an amazing trophy is winning the Carabao Cup. Now, can I deal with Errol? Errol. Mr. Liverpool, we do this, Stan Potts. We've been winning slots, such a great manager. This is why I told you about your manager. Can you imagine in the space of, let me tell you, this is why you don't shake your bum. This is why you don't shake your bum violently. Let's look at this and explain. You went and you played PSG. By the way, PSG is not the biggest issue in the Champions League this season. You should have got slapped up in the first leg, but somehow the gods were on your side. But you got slapped up in your own yard, out the Champions League. You had an opportunity to do something against the team that was fully anxious. Let's be real, 70 years is a lot of weight, a lot of baggage to be having on the pitch. Your players, your star guy Salah went missing. Do you know like that? Like John Slow, where was he, bro? Now the truth is, I thought this panel was telling me last week that you men are legit. But what you are is the confirmation is you're the best of a bad bunch. Is that it? After everything we've been through, after all the stories we heard, when it came to playing legit teams, you got whacked up by PSG, you got whacked up by Newcastle. So therefore, Errol, it's fair to say, Slot, Mr. Magic Man, he put Gravenberch in the 6 and all of a sudden we became this great club. It's rubbish. It's light. I said it before and I say it again. Had Man City, Plymouth, LB, put your camera on, had you man been serious this season, had the Red Tottenham been serious this season, you man wouldn't be top. You wouldn't be top of the league. But instead, them man were rubbish and you came up and you did your thing and we have to give you respect. But I'm disappointed, bro. I'm disappointed because for me, I wanted to know if this Liverpool team was going to kick on. I wanted to know if this Liverpool team was going to dominate English football. What yesterday confirmed was that this season is a little bit like the season where we had COVID and there were no fans in the stands. It's a dud season. No one will remember this season, bro. And after this, you know, you done your thing, but we know you're not legit. So I can safely say next season, you're not winning the league. After what I've seen, I can even safely say, and Wolfie will agree with me, that Newcastle finish above Liverpool next season. That's the beginning of the cooking. And I've got more to come, but let's start it off and I hand the floor to my fellow learned friends.
That's a great way to end, to be fair. I feel like that's the bread and the olives and the oil being dipped in and enjoyed. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the prawn cocktail needs to come next. So, Wolfie, I'll let you come in, bro. You got the apron there ready.
See you, Poch, yeah.
You're ready and waiting.
I'm gonna see you on Friday because you turned into a shameless motherfucker. You turned into one shameless.
Enjoy it, and you know what? I'll enjoy it. It's been too long, my bro. Friday will be fun.
Errol, the chef's cooking. Errol, the chef's cooking. Come on.
I'll look forward to Friday, Errol. Wolfie, please do continue.
Yeah, thank you, Deji, for warming up the dish and everything. I think everything you said there is correct. If I were a Liverpool fan right now, I'd be very worried about next season. With Salah, with Trent, with Van Dijk still not sorted out, they're gonna have another rebuild before they've even lifted the damn title. But my issue right now is with Slot. If we look at Slot for this season, he's come under 2 pressure games, PSG and Newcastle. The rest of the time, the league games have been whatever. You've seen the fall down of Arsenal, of Man City. He's not been playing under any real pressure this season, apart from when he faced Forest, of course, and we all know what happened there. When it's come to actual pressure games, there are still huge question marks against this manager. He can win a league by default. We've established that this season. He's been given the league rather than won it. And then he's come across PSG, where he was in the lead. All he had to do was get his tactics right in that second leg, his team selection right in that second leg, and he failed. And then he came up against the Newcastle, where everyone had Liverpool down as favourites. Even Pete and the Newcastle guys were like, we have a chance, but Liverpool should be favourites. And I think that result yesterday is huge. It's huge, and it tells us a lot about Slot that we didn't already know. We may have had our thoughts and our opinions on it, but seeing Slot yesterday completely outclassed by Newcastle, I would be worried if I was a Liverpool fan. And add on top of that your ownership that we know doesn't invest in the club, that we know doesn't care about it like some other owners do. Do you really think they're going to fund a rebuild? Because all they're going to see at the end of the season is a Premier League title with one signing in that year. Do you really think they're going to invest that money in? See that club next season? That for me yesterday, I know you said you're not disappointed, Errol. I'd be scared. Disappointment shouldn't be in your vocabulary right now. It should be fear about what's about to come for Liverpool. You will have Man City spending in the summer. You will have maybe Arsenal spending in the... Oh, you can shiver all you want, bro.
How am I going to sleep at night? Oh,
all right, we'll remember this for this time next year. You've just been warned twice, back to back. Deji's just warned you. I've warned you. In fact, I've been warning you all season. All season. Yes, Elby.
Liverpool have got exactly what they deserve, right? Because we sat here, at the end of the transfer window and said it was a disgrace that Liverpool didn't buy any players. Yeah, we did that. Yeah. We told Errol that, and Errol disagreed. Yeah. And we said Liverpool had the opportunity this year to turn a great season, winning the Premier League, because we all knew they were winning the Premier League, into an iconic season. And what they needed to do there is invest. They didn't invest. The squad's got tired, as we all knew it would get tired because they're playing every 3 days. Yeah. And now they're out of all the trophies apart from the Premier League. No one's trying to say it's not a bad season. No one's trying to say it's not a good season. It's a great season. But Liverpool could have had an iconic season had they actually spent some money in January and strengthened that squad. And we sat here and said it. Errol disagreed. And now, instead of winning the quadruple, instead of winning the treble, a double, they're winning the Premier. That is amazing, and it's better than what my club's doing this year. But
where did Pep finish in his first season, LB? Where did Pep finish in his first season?
Don't deflect now, Godfather.
It's deflection I've ever seen in my life.
It's not a deflection. It's not.
It is a deflection.
I'm asking you a question. Where did Pep
changing the conversation?
No, I'm not. I am not.
You are changing the conversation.
Errol, deep breath, Errol. We're just starting.
I'm sure
you should
she's
just
got the
start.
transfer window.
So I'm not allowed to ask questions. I've just got to sit here for an
So,
hour.
yeah,
You're on
you asked me a
trial
question, and
tonight,
I
to
just
be
changed
honest,
the
Errol.
question to something else. I'm asking you the question about the January transfer window. When we sat here and said, why didn't your club, you'd only spent 11 million quid in the summer. You had the money to spend. You had the opportunity to turn this season into an iconic year. We all said it in January, and you just said, nah, we don't need to. It's fine. And now you've been knocked out of all the competitions.
And LB, the funniest thing about it is everyone congratulated them for the league about a month ago. So even when they lift the actual trophy, when they physically get their hands on it, it's gonna feel like the COVID season again, if I'm honest with you. You know, it's like, who cares? It's done. It's happened. And you're right. They've lost the opportunity to get a little bit of aura about them. We all now know the blueprint of how to beat Slot. We've seen it with Nuno, seen it PSG, we've seen it with Newcastle. The blueprint is there. Slot's been found out. And instead of kicking on, they've done what they've done previously. They did this years ago when their midfield was too old, of Fabinho and all them men, and they didn't replace them. And then we saw them, you know, fall away. And that was under Klopp, who is clearly better than Slot. What are they going to do under this? Someone needs to check his ancestral tree, because there has to be some links there with Ten Hag. There has to be. We're starting to slowly see signs of it.
We win cups, mate. We won cups with Ten Hag. So
fair point. So Ten Hag is still the better Dutchman that's graced the Premier League.
Let's
wow.
Let's
wow. That set him up.
I don't associate myself with Wolfie, but my original point stands.
Let me I'm gonna bring Dan in next, but I'm gonna let Errol come in because I feel like his head's gonna go. So come on, Errol. What
Continue do your thing, man. Continue do your thing. Honestly, I think he's all made some really valid points. So I'll let you continue, and then I will speak my mind once everybody's finished up.
Okay, Errol. That's very mature of you, mate. Dan, I feel like we need some red wine to wash this food down with. So off you go, mate.
I didn't have a glass, so I put it in a bottle. Errol, I want to say this, and I want you to hear what every word I'm saying here. And before the Liverpool fans in the chat come in and say, "Oh, why are they talking about our club?" Why? Nah. You've sat here, and I've seen right through it, week after week after week. The humbleness. If we just get the Premier League, it'll be fine. It's what I didn't expect it. Bollocks. That shows exactly, and trust me, my club's a joke, right? Okay, we know that. Okay, we've got Butlins as our new stadium, but to have the chance to win, not one trophy, not two trophies, not three trophies, but 4, right? And to say after that, well, it's all right, we're going to win a Premier League. That in itself is inexplicable, inexcusable. Okay, your manager has absolutely got it wrong. In each and every game. Against Plymouth, he got it wrong. Against PSG, he got it wrong. And you know what? Yesterday, he got it wrong. And for you to say a few weeks ago, no, I don't think the transfer window was that bad, is bullshit. It's bullshit, because you should have 100% brought players in to back the lads that are already playing week in and week out. To win a quadruple, as you love to bring that word, I feel like you've cursed the word quadruple. You've done it. It's done. I hear it's being removed from the dictionary. Okay? It's cursed that much. To not bring players in to back this squad, by the way, that is Finn, is a joke. To not bring players in to make sure you're okay in the eventuality that Van Dijk, that Trent, that Salah leave, Robertson's on his fucking ass, is a joke. You have the biggest rebuild out of everybody on this panel next season. Because look, my club knows where we are. We're shit. Okay? Billy knows where he is. It's Champions League. They're still building to try and be consistently in the Champions League. Pete's club knows where they are. They have now got PSR out the way. They're going to go out there and do what they need to do. I could go on with all of the club. I mean, even Charlie, whose own club are trying to pay us to take our own fucking player back. Even they're not as bad as you, okay? You have got the biggest rebuild in all. You take your eyes off that phone. You take your eyes and you look at me. You have got the biggest rebuild because you are going to lose absolutely everybody in the summer. And you have told us week in, week out, Slot's done well to get that extra 10 to 15% out of the players. He's done it in a league where everybody else has been shit. It's a Premier League, absolutely fine. But your club, mark my words, mate, you are going to get the dark days. And trust me, you will be in the mud with myself, with Deji, and with Charlie.
Oh, hold on, I'm not in the mud. I'm top four.
You're paying us to bring the fucking freedom fighter back.
Nah, Charlie,
Our
you're
own players.
definitely
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Let's look. I'll go in with some mains, and Billy and Charlie can have some dessert, right? Errol, the quad father. It's no longer the quad father. There's no quadruple. There's no treble. There's not even a double. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but mathematically, we can win more than you this season. I never thought that would happen. My bro,
You flexing a
what
community
has
shield?
happened? Say again?
You flexing a community shield, Pods?
No, I didn't win that.
Oh, you didn't win that, did you? What
No.
else you win in?
They can still
Well,
win the league and the
we can
Champions
mathematically
League.
win the Premier
yeah,
League and
yeah,
the Champions League somehow. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not going to win either. However,
Neither
we
of which
actually
is going to
can.
happen.
Yeah, we actually can. If the bets were on to who could actually mathematically win 2 trophies, it won't be Liverpool because they're only in 1. And you know what I would be worried more about now is the fact that I see Van Dijk flirting with PSG. Salah's so badly wanting to win. And you could see even that thing that LB put on, the penalty miss from Darwin. That was like, wow, rah. That says a lot. That was funny, that. And then you got Trent, who, let's be real, everyone knows has gone to Real Madrid. If you lose them 3, Wolfie's right. That's a serious rebuild, man. How do you replace those 3? So, look, I can't talk too loudly because I'm not too happy with where my club's at. But one thing I know that you do as a Liverpool fan and as a content creator that I work with a lot and I respect a lot, I know that you aren't one to call out the owners and the board. I've not really heard you do it much, if I'm honest. But if you lose those 3, I expect there to be riots, man. If they all go on a 3, I expect you to turn, and I expect a lot of people on Redmen TV and some of the other content that you share, I expect you all to be absolutely rioting with your board and ownership for allowing that to happen, because that would be an absolute disgrace. And it could be an unbelievable day, and I'm sure it still will be an unbelievable day for you in May. But if you lose them 3 after that, and the 3 of them go, yep, won that Prem, oh, we're off now. I'm going to Saudi, I'm going to Real, and I'm going to go on a 3. Van Dijk will say, my goodness, that will be absolutely horrendous. Go on, Charlie.
It's already a disgrace, mate, to allow those 3 players to even get in this position. Yeah.
It is. It's horrendous. And me and LB have said that for a while, to be fair. But look, let's speed things up. Charlie and Billy, please do come in. Charlie, we'll start with you, mate.
No, I'm just glad that, it's nice to see Liverpool feel some pain in a final. I've been on the receiving end twice in the same season, losing, seeing that arch lit up in red. I took great joy in seeing the Liverpool fans leaving the stadium, sad, depressed. I felt like I got a bit of retribution. Yeah, they needed a bit of grounding, needed a bit of humbling. Look, they're not going to bottle the league. They're going to have the league. But yeah, they've got a big summer ahead. It's a big summer of change. Things aren't going to be the same. 2 of those 3 minimum are leaving. There needs to be more squad depth added. Jota's not it. Nunes is not it. They need a 9. Need a Salah replacement. Need a Trent replacement. It's not looking good, Errol. So I would just say to you, mate, that enjoy these good days because it's unclear when the next ones are coming.
Interesting, Billy. Over to you, bruv. What you got?
I'll be honest. I've not got an awful lot to say to Errol. I'll be the taxi driver taking him home. What I'm going to say is big up to Pete. Congratulations to Pete. Congratulations to Newcastle. 70-year wait is just incredible. Those fans, like we saw at Wembley in London, they just took over London. So fair play to them. I think they deserve it. Absolutely. And yeah, obviously from a Liverpool perspective, it will be a worrying situation to find themselves in. But I also think I'd love to be in Liverpool's situation at the minute. I'd love to be 17 points, 16 points, whatever it is, flying high at the top of the Premier League. Nothing to worry about in the league, really. The Premier League's coming to Anfield in May. I would love to be in that position. So I can't, from my point of view anyway, I'm quite happy where Villa are. I've not really got an awful lot to say to Errol, to be honest with you.
Billy, you're shameless, man.
No, I respect it. I respect it.
Shameless.
Can I
Billy,
can I
you're winning the-
speak?
you're winning the
Am
Champions
I
League,
off
Billy.
my ban? Am I off my ban now? Can I speak?
Well,
and
you
say
are
that?
once. I think it's fitting first. You stand up and applaud Pete and show him the respect. And show you've been humble.
I ain't got no pants on, so nobody wants to see that right now.
Yeah, I'm not. Eddie Howe whipped him off you yesterday, bro. Isn't it? I get that.
Exactly. So
yeah, but at least you need to applaud Pete. I think you got to show you've been humbled a little.
Did I tell you how to do your roasting and preparation and all them things? I'm sure I didn't. I'm sure I just had the decorum.
I think it would be a good gesture, bro.
I had the decorum to put myself on mute and let you run your agenda. So if we could exchange the respectfully.
You just Bill Neville.
First thing I would like to say is, Pete, big up yourself and big up your lads. I know we've already had a conversation, but your lads absolutely deserved everything they got, and your fans as well yesterday, because they were brilliant. We had a talk beforehand, and all of my internal fears at the time that we did our pre-match basically came to light in that 90-minute performance. So I wasn't alien to it, and it wasn't alien to me seeing that. I was very consciously aware that that was a very real possibility of happening. Second thing, if these are all happy that I've congratulated Pete and his fan base enough, can I ask the lads around the panel, show of hands, who would trade their current season for the season that I am having right now? Honestly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I've got choices.
So it's only Dan United. Dan United is the proudest man. No.
I haven't put my hand up.
I only asked for a show of hands. No. I only asked for. I know, but I don't care. I only asked for a show of hands.
I didn't put my hand up. I didn't put my hand up.
It's not your time to talk.
I know, but why go? Dan, why? Why? You don't know my reasons, so.
I don't
let him come in, Dan. Let him land. Go on. What is this about?
By the way, Errol, I didn't put my hand up.
So everyone's put their hand up other than Pete, Wolfie, and Dan, basically.
Okay, and that's absolutely fine. But those that are again accustomed to it or would want to win would trade their seasons, because ultimately the prize at the end of the season that we all want is the Premier League, and my team is still on course to go and do that. Okay, a question for LB, and you can answer this, LB, because it is a question directly to you. Mm-hmm. What did Pep Guardiola win in his first season?
I don't think he won anything.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Right. So the reason that I said January wasn't all that of a bad transfer window for us, and again, to restate it for those that are, hard of hearing or born in deficit or whatever you cool Gen Zs want to go with nowadays, the reality of the situation is we knew from when we lost, or Klopp made the announcement last year, and we didn't have the hierarchy in place, that making a contractual decision for Verge, Trent and Salah was highly improbable. So therefore, we had no other option. It wasn't good business practice, but there was no other option than to run it into their last year, which meant that the decisions then had to be made in the summer for what Liverpool needed to do. So there was never going to be a high probability that we was going to make those signings in January. And you can say, kick off on the board and do, but nobody else's club made business in January, and they all needed business. Man United needed to make options. Sorry, no, you made one. Sorry, you made one. Whatever that kid's name was. So I do apologise. You did make one. Who was the other one?
Mine did.
Heaven.
Okay, young lad. Okay, so you got another.
We signed 5.
I know you signed the bag. I know you signed the bag, but your season was on its arse, and you still might not qualify for Champions League with the 5 that you signed. So even though you went and spunked a load of money, it still might not be enough to save your season.
Yeah, Villa did well, and that's worked out all right for them.
Villa did well, yeah. On the other hand, Villa did well, and it has worked out. So it's a gamble, and ultimately Liverpool did not want to make that gamble when they still had those 3 contract situations up in the air. I don't control that. I just have to support and say what I would have wanted, and ultimately I would have wanted us to do more, but we didn't, and I was fine with it because we was in a healthy position. In terms of the quad stuff, I have said to you from the start of this season, I did not have the expectation that we was going to win the league. So from the start, there was never a quad on for me if we was never going to win the league. But I also said to you, I wanted to just enjoy this season because there was so much going into the future for Liverpool that was like, you know, it was unclear what direction we was going to go in. There was so much that was hanging over the air. I just wanted, not to say Slot gets a free run at it, but I don't want to put the expectation on he has to win the Champions League in his first year or he has to win cups. I want him to stabilise us for 12 months and I want to be able to enjoy the football. We've had pressurised situations year after year after year with Jurgen Klopp and you get used to it, but it gets exhausting. One of the things that I have been waiting for, and I'll tell you very honestly, I have waited. Yous are all crying, it's a shit league, the quality's this, the quality's that. I have waited the best part of 30 years to be shit and still be good enough to win a league. I'll be honest, because the only time that we've ever come close enough to being to winning a league, we've been absolutely exceptional. And even at those times, we've still fell short. I've seen some Man United teams not be world beaters. You've had some world beater teams in the Premier League, and I'll never take that away from you. But there have been some seasons where you've just had enough minerals and wherewithal within that squad to just get those 38 games done. And people just couldn't. You were boxing smart. You didn't have to box heavy over the course of the 38 game season. And there's a level of respect, but there's also a level of, oh, I just wish we was that. I just wish we could just do that, muster up just enough to just get over 38 games over the line. And it looks like this season, quite honestly, we might not be Centurions, we might not be Invincibles, we might not even be some of the best Chelsea teams. Because I was looking back to see if there's been any really average Chelsea teams this morning, Charlie. And to be fair, you've never been average. Whenever Chelsea go and win something, you've always put in a very good account for yourselves across the 38 games. So in all fairness, there aren't many examples, but there are examples of teams that just do enough. And if that means that this is the year that I'm going to do enough, I've waited a very long time.
And you should be very happy with that, innit, Errol? Yeah, 100%.
And I am.
Let me just repeat, yeah. I'm not saying like you. All I'm saying is your board spent no money in the summer.
No, of course you didn't.
You're one of the biggest clubs in world football. You was on course. You was in all 4 competitions. And I just think personally it was shocking that your board and your owners didn't put their hand in the pocket and back
I understand that
in January.
And I genuinely understand that.
Just because you could have had an iconic season. And
but of course, you're still going to win the league. That's still
great, but you should have spent money.
The thing is, and I know, and I get that, and I genuinely do. So it's not even like I'm just being petty for petty's sake. I just also think as well, if Klopp, and it's his last year, he might turn around and say, do you know what? Give him whatever he needs to go on. But Slot's just starting to build something like, and again, hypothetically, because we're in this world of we should have done this or we should have done that, and it's all hindsight. If Slot goes out and gets 2 more players that helps us get over the line at Plymouth, and I don't think anything's really on him for the Plymouth game, by the way. He put out a strong enough forward line there. If they was actually worth their weight in gold, he'd have scored a goal against them. But that's by the by. I don't think we was good enough over the 2 legs against PSG, and I've said that a few times already, and we weren't at the races yesterday. But if he did get 2 players that would have made the difference, and say we go on to win it all, then what? What happens for Slot after that? Now the expectation is every season you have to be in all 4 and win it. Like, he's got to be able to grow from somewhere as a manager. Like, and Wolfie's shaking his head, but how long has it taken Eddie Howe with a clear plan to come in and say, I want to be able to win something, but it's not going to be overnight, it's not going to be instantaneous? Yes, Dan.
Sorry, that's not me.
Someone's mic is terrible.
I think it's Errol's.
That's something you said there, Errol, that I kind of, and I get it. And you know something, I've got to take my hat off to you. The way you're reacting after this, absolute class, mate. But something you said that I don't agree with is the fact that your ownership were willing to let the three run into the summer. This isn't the likes of Anthony, Casemiro, and Lindelof, and you think, well, you know what I mean? We'll just see where they're on. This is the spine of your team, mate. This is.
No, I get that, but that was a decision made last summer based on the fact that they hadn't. So when it comes to last summer, those players, because we had only just got Michael Edwards back and his team, the only thing we could realistically do, because we didn't know what Slot was capable of, and I'll get to Wolfie's point, because I think Wolfie did, in the midst of all of the cookery, he did make a very good point. you can't really get those lads at the levels that they operate at to buy in when there's no body of work. There's nothing for them to say, all right, I can get behind this because you can show me categorically you can do X, Y, or Z. There was nothing like that. So they had to give it this year to see where things could go and where things could lead to. And if they bought into it, and if Slot buys into them and he still sees them in his long-term plans for his project as well. The one thing that I will agree with Wolfie on, and I've said it on Redmen as well and Redmen 2 after we got dumped out the other day in the Champions League, the league format in the Champions League did us no favours, and it was almost like a poison chalice in the way that we've ended up going out of it now to PSG. We're the better team over the two legs. The one thing that I worry is now, though, because he's going to get the blind.
Did you just say?
Say that again?
The new format did you no favours. You won it.
No, but this is what I'm saying. So that, like, the format of winning it for us, it was a poison chalice because ultimately we still ended up facing a very difficult PSG side. That it was like there's no real clear favourite in that.
Nah,
that's just a case of luck of the draw, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it was a poison chalice. That was just for us. That's just how it feels. It was just a poison chalice. The point that I'm trying to make is, like, because he's going to win the Premier League, that's one type of competition, and he's done it well. I don't know what the Champions League and the knockout is. Is he going to have that European? Is he going to be like a Unai Emery who's got that mold and he's just able to navigate those games and do it so well? Or is that going to be his undoing? And next year we make it out, we get knocked out at the quarterfinals, and we don't really emote that same energy that when Slop used to get us in a European Cup run, or when Rafa Benitez used to be able to do it for us. So there where I've got question marks when those big competitions come. And the last thing I'll say before we either move on or you can rebut or whatever you want to do is that for me, I've had a season's worth of hurt in 1 week. And I'll be honest about that. I think a lot of yous, again, when I asked you the first question about would you trade the season for it, a lot of yous have had death by 1,000 cuts. I just had a 2 bloke. All right, Wolfie. I know I said a lot of. I didn't say all of. Come on, bro.
Fair enough.
I think I've had a 2-punch combo, and that's been it. I've been bingoed, and that still hurts. But I might be in a coma for a couple of weeks, but I'll wake up out of the coma, and I'm gonna have a badina in my bed waiting for me. And then what are we gonna say when I'm sitting here at the end of the season cooking all you, man? So what? And Deji, and the last thing I will say, last, because I forgot, Deji's been so quiet and so graceful. I respect it. Yeah, you see Pete right there. The feelings that Pete got, and I ain't never ever gonna disrespect the League Cup because we've won it the most times. Do you get me? It is a fantastic competition, and Pete gets it. But I never want to see you say you're going to trade places for points on a leaderboard and a spreadsheet season on season when you don't want to be able to float round with a parade in your city on your rivals' head tops. That is shameful. You need a football and education, and you need to change your ways, because yesterday, is what football is all about, baby. And I loved the way that the Newcastle fans
let Deji have his top 4 dreams, man, that will result in absolutely nothing, man. If that's what he wants, that's what he wants.
That's shameful, bro. You can't sit around me. We are supposed, bro, I'm going to hold all of you on the same time. We are, esteemed company. Deji, if you want to be in the club, you got to pattern up, bro. You can't come into the club with sketches. It doesn't run.
Bro, what I don't like, Errol, I hear you, and like Wolfie and colleagues have said, you are, for one, you are an orator, and I could listen to you all day. But that doesn't take away the fact, bro, that you got slapped up. Now, what we're not going to do is we're not going to distract from the situation, which you rightly pointed out, that your team has been woeful. And, you said you felt pain this week. Welcome to my world. I'm not going to knock anything that Pete has had to say. I mean, I think a lot of people in the chat can kind of guess how I feel. That's how I think about the whole thing. As much as I celebrate the fact that Newcastle did what they did, it is still a Carabao Cup, and I can't change. And I will have
Pete, don't let him disrespect it, bro.
Do not let him disrespect it.
You are. That's disrespect.
Nobody. Nobody can disrespect me today. I don't give
I
a
never
fuck.
do that. I wouldn't disrespect you. I wouldn't disrespect that.
Oh, Pete,
What
you're hard.
I am just putting context behind it, and so that was it.
Okay.
No, I wasn't responding to Deji, by the way. I'm just saying I literally couldn't give a shit.
No, I love that.
Right,
I love
I
that.
love that. And I love that for you,
I'm
bro.
fucking buzzing right now. I'm fucking buzzing.
Let me quickly, lastly, before we move, because we have got to move, we're almost done an hour on this, but it has been good fun. Let me quickly allow Dan and Wolfie to ask why they would not swap their seasons with Liverpool, and then we will move on.
Yeah, I think for me it's quite simple. What Errol said showed a lot of naivety, in my opinion. That he's almost becoming a Leicester fan without realizing. He's sacrificing the long-termism of the club for a one-off title and not
You're
building to it
talking-
correctly.
Let me remind you who you're talking to. Talk to me nice, bro.
I'm just trying to give you a reality check,
You've
bro.
gone too far. You've gone too
I
hyperbolic.
haven't. You see how that's hit you now? I think you've understood what you've said now.
No. Do you know who you're talking to? You're not talking to just anybody out here. We have won the most European Cups. We're about to tie the most.
Exactly.
The most
I agree.
league titles. We are huge. It doesn't.
I agree, bro, and that's why I'm trying to bring you back to reality.
I could sacrifice this one trophy this season now, and you will still never get the trophy hole that I've got before you live. Your grandkids
that's the
might
point
still
I'm
not
trying to
have the
make you.
trophy hole.
I'm glad it's hit you
can't
here, bro,
chat.
because
you're being short-sighted.
because you are, without realizing, becoming. Your mindset now is how Leicester fans were. They got the title, and the reason I didn't raise my arm is because the way I want to do it, the way my owner wants to do it, is to build it correctly, to make sure the foundations and the structure are there, so it's not a one-off flash in the pan because everyone else was crap.
But you're talking like we haven't already got all of that.
No, I'm talking about now, Errol. I'm talking about your mentality now. That's why. So that's why I didn't raise my arm. Because what I don't want my club to do is do a Leicester, and I fear for you that your mentality is dropping from those standards, and rightly so, those standards you should have. You should be disappointed that you didn't at least do a double. You know what I'm saying? You're there doing a Leicester, celebrating, and let's remember what happened to Leicester after they did win their title. So this is my worry for you, Errol. I'm saying it with love as a friend. Yeah,
and I respect. Now, now you say it like that, it makes sense. I was wrong. You see, I was tripping. I was in my feelings.
Yeah, so don't get yourself giddy over one league title without looking at the structure that's behind it.
Do you know what, bro? Hey, let me just give. Right, you see this? I'm gonna send you this in the post right now, yo. I'm gonna pack this up, and if I had pants on, I'd get up and I'd go and take it to the post box right now, because you should be donning this more than I should, bro.
What is that?
Yo, Mum, let me tell you something real quick. Hey, you see this guy in here, Mum? Yo. Real talk, bro.
I bet her fucking arm's a bit fucking wet today after those tears over the past fucking week, pal.
No, apparently Errol, Sam Maguire is saying PSG are all in for Van Dijk. Liverpool won't break the bank to retain him. They do want him to stay, however. There's going to be more on this every day.
They're not staying, are they? They're not staying. It's March.
They're not staying.
I'm just going to throw out an exclusive tonight as well. Newcastle's chairman has told Newcastle officials Isak must stay this summer.
Yeah,
it's his favourite
player.
Must stay or
will
stay.
Wanting
to leave the club, he is staying. Love it.
Wait, did you say must stay or will stay, Pete? The word's important.
He's because he's come from Saudi Arabia for the game. He's told them like don't consider any bids at all for Isak. Basically, is what he said.
There we go. Listen, let's do these super chats and then we'll move and we'll wrap up with some questions to close. LB says, Deji, are you okay, bro? You're looking very depressed. I think you did answer in the chat to say that you're okay, but we're going to come to you next, mate, and check on you. So it's all good. Wolves F1 says, is Newcastle the first ever club winning League Cup, beating all the top four based on Premier League table on their way to triumph? Do you know what? They've done unbelievable to get to that, by the way, because it's not like they've beaten some dusty teams. Do you know what I mean? They've actually gone through some decent teams to actually.
Can I also say, Eddie Howe is the first manager to win an English to win a competition over here in England.
Redknapp.
And that in itself is a big up. So that's a W for the English.
You look at that. Forest in the early rounds.
We drew though, Pete. Let's remember that.
No, we beat you. Forest, Chelsea, Brentford, then Arsenal back to back, and then Liverpool. That's a fucking
plaudits, man. Plaudits. You deserve it. Big time deserve it. LBO says his top 5 he thinks will be Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, City, and Newcastle.
I'm good with
We're
that.
going to come on to that. We're going to come on to that in a little bit later. Big up to Ant, Forest, FFTV on Forest fan. Ant says, there we call Liverpool bottlers, the quad. And he's put a load of laughing faces. Well, I tell you what, they will be called ballers if they don't win this league. That will be proper ballers. Zykel says Liverpool only win the Prem when other teams have off seasons. COVID-19. Little bit harsh, if I'm honest, but you know. LB also says Pellegrini won a double in his first season. To be fair, that is true. That is true. That is true.
Ancelotti with Chelsea.
Ancelotti as well. Yeah,
won double first season as well. Yeah.
Let's move to a little bit of football trivia for the panel and for everyone in the chat. I'm going to read out some teams. I want you to tell me what they've all got in common. West Ham, Swansea, Birmingham, Wigan, and Newcastle. What have they all got in common?
I was about to say Asbos until you said Newcastle.
Well, they all won trophies. All won a League Cup.
All won trophies before Tottenham. That is what they've done. They have all won trophies before Tottenham, and that's where we're coming next.
Yeah, but they don't want to win trophies, innit? They want top.
But they don't want trophies, you know. But Ange Postecoglou is trying to fight his own fan base now, Deji. Do you know what I mean? Don't know what's wrong with him. He's trying to give it.
Can I? You know, I tried to hold back tonight. I really did. I'm not gonna lie. This is probably one of the most uncomfortable shows I've ever been on, because the amount of sucking dick that was taking place is borderline X-rated. So I'm gonna have to just say what I need to do, because if I don't say this, I'm gonna leave this stream pretty livid. Guys, what are we doing here? Look, Pete is our guy. We spent a great time with him during Christmas. He's a lovely fella, and you know, me and Pete, we'll put fists together all day long. I saw Bruno G crying. What for?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Pete, I'm fuming. I am fuming.
Let him, man. I want to see where he goes with this.
Yeah.
I want to see where he goes with this.
Other way, Errol.
He cried for lifting a Carabao Cup.
Hang on a minute. Pochettino cried to get into a final when he beat Ajax.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. But we got into a final of the Champions League,
which you lost. So you cried getting into a final.
If he's crying to get into a final of the Champions League, put some respect. There's levels to this.
Which you lost.
I'm not knocking Newcastle's.
You cried for nothing.
It was absolutely fantastic for Pete. It was fantastic for the city of Newcastle. But the question I asked the panel is it tear-worthy? Be honest.
Is getting to a final which you lost to?
No. Is winning the Carabao Cup enough?
No.
I'm
gonna do an Errol and deflect.
Getting
to a final.
Let me ask you this, 1 minute, though, Pete. 1 minute, Deji. If you've been on a 10-year drought, no things, no mashing, no nothing. The first thing you get over the line, you're not going to shed no tear to yourself when you finish and you go in the bathroom and you're tidying things up.
Can I describe what I think today was? And I know a lot of people are going to not like me for this, and my response to them is bite me. This is it. It's like going to the club, going to a rave. You see that thing that that is not your cup of tea. You're like, you know what? Nah. But for you, my good friend, something that you wouldn't take, for you, that's all right, mate. Oh, Pete, is that who you fancy?
Oh,
man. You go ahead. But for me, I would never go near that. Now, I've got standards for my club. I've got standards for my bedrooms. I wouldn't give you
What
something I
standards?
wouldn't take.
Standards.
I wouldn't give you
14.
something I wouldn't take.
Yeah, but
These
Deji, the
brothers
problem
are out
is she
there
wouldn't take
clenching
you.
their bum violently for a Carabao. Are you kidding me, guys? Are you smoking budgie
Yeah,
bantam?
but Deji, again, you cried
not,
by just
no,
speaking
what
to
I'm
the
saying
woman.
is,
You
Elsie,
spoke to the woman in the club.
Allow
The
me to
woman
say
spoke
this.
to you and said, I'm not
Allow me to
interested.
say
And then you
this,
started
bro.
crying, bro.
No,
That's what
no.
you did.
No,
That's what you
he
did,
started
bro.
crying because the woman
LB,
said,
that's not tears.
the
That's
woman
mate.
said, if she doesn't pick anyone else up by the end of the night, I'll take you home. That's
And
why
she
he
still
started
didn't.
crying.
And she still
But
didn't.
I'm not on
I've
that.
still got a chance. That's
I'm not
what
on that.
That's what you were crying about.
I'm not on that. So for me, look, I applaud what Newcastle have achieved. It
You
is
just
a big
outed yourself as an
thing
incel,
for
you know that.
Newcastle. But it is the lowest of all the. It's the lowest competition you could win in this country. True.
When are you going to win it then? When are you going to win it then?
I'm being real.
Who did you beat
I
to get to
don't
the lowest
win
trophy,
it.
Pete?
I don't
Who
wanna
did
win
you
it.
beat to get to the lowest trophy?
Yeah,
Bruv,
I've named the clubs that we beat along the way. All of those clubs are higher than Tottenham.
Look, I bit my lip. I knew it was going to go left, but I just couldn't take it no more.
Reggie, you come
There's a
dressed
small
like
point in
Elboy,
what
you
you're
act like
saying.
fucking Rodney, mate. That's horrendous. Absolutely horrendous.
Can we actually talk about your clown manager who's now trying to pick fights with your fans?
Deji, was that you
mean,
at Craven
that's
Cottage
like-
yesterday?
that's
Shout,
like
calling him a
hell.
That
knobhead.
was me.
It was you calling him a knobhead, yeah. Yeah.
He's a dick.
Matthias
no,
Tell
I'm
is
only
18
joking
years
here. I'm
old
only
or
joking.
19 years old.
Everyone knows I'm joking, but you know,
That is still
Look,
shit.
the truth of the matter is, I'm having to sit here week after week, L after L, time after time, getting cooked like some sort of English breakfast because this Postecoglou donkey is clearly doesn't know what he's doing. And for me, everyone was right and I was wrong. This man is a madman because we drew with Tamworth after 90 minutes. We gave Crystal Palace their first win of the season. We gave Ipswich their first win of the season. We went to AZ Alkmaar, some dusty team. I don't even know where it is in Holland. And we couldn't register a single shot on target. And I still have Spurs fans saying, keep the faith. Keep the faith with what? We are holding on a wing and a prayer. We are going to do nothing against Frankfurt. We were dusty on Thursday. No Spurs fan was surprised that we lost to Fulham on the weekend. None. We weren't surprised. He's barking out the same crap. It's unacceptable. Blah, blah, blah. Certain players didn't step up. Blah, blah, blah. Nah. The truth of the matter is, the sooner he gets out, the better. I would rather he lose his job now and Ryan Mason come in. I'm so angry that I would take Gareth Southgate. Better still, I'll take Moyes or Sean Dyche. That's how bad this brother is.
I'm not surprised you take Moyes. He is above you after all.
Bro, at the end of the day, he's a fraud, Postecoglou. And I know he watches this channel because he made reference to the fact that he can't skip social medias in his face and he's been seeing some of the stuff spouting. So hold that, mate. Hold that. You're rubbish. And lastly, the biggest thing that I think is disgraceful is the fact that Spurs have lost 15 games this season, and I said it last year that we could lose 18, 19. But Tottenham won't even get 40 points. That, for me, is a disgrace. If you don't get 40 points, you deserve to be relegated. The fact that we will still be in the Prem and we haven't secured 40 points is a disgrace. And for that reason, I'm not going to lie, on the first show of next season, I will not say a word for the whole show.
We're holding you to that now.
What?
Yeah. I will sit and I will watch and I will look. Because
Deji, how shit is Tell?
I have no right to be on this show. And if you guys allow me to be on this show and say a word, I'll be grateful because we are friends at the end of the day. And if you don't allow me to say it, you can suck yourself. And you know what I mean? It's that simple.
Oh,
Deji,
my
how shit
God.
is Tell?
Yeah, that's Matthias Tell.
Tell-
Talk to me.
Tell me what you want.
Absolute
Tell me
dog.
what you need. Tell me if it ain't good enough for you, mate. He's rubbish. He's
Whoa,
absolutely
Whoa,
crap.
whoa!
I'm
And you were
done
coming
with
at
this.
me. You were coming at me
Bruh.
saying, "Oh, we saw your car park." Fuck!
Nah.
I told you. I told
He
you.
is better than Hoyland. He's
He's
better than
crap,
Hoyland.
man. I'm not gonna lie. Tottenham,
I'm not sure about that, Wolfie.
Tottenham. All the work that we've done has been undone. Legitly, Newcastle's top 6. Spurs ain't. We're not top 6. We're not top 10. We are muddied. Hence why the first show of the new season, I will humbly refrain from giving my predictions until game week 3.
You're not going to be in this show.
Yeah, it's called Race for Europe, Dej.
Neither am I.
Sky saying
Mate,
Ange
we're
might
gonna be-
leave.
we're
Is
gonna
this
be-
true? Is this
we're
true?
gonna
Oh yeah, I might not be in this show.
It's got a
Oh,
theme in this show.
Okay.
So, you know, you'll be the
I'll-
second Tottenham fan that's been dumped off this show.
You may just make this is London. Man. You may just make this is London, man.
Pete, I don't know if you agree with me. I think there should be a motion to realign this Cartel 6, the removal of Spurs and United, and the adding of Forest and Newcastle into it. Maybe
Pete knows
Billy-
better
I
than to
don't
go
know if
against
he is.
United. Pete knows better after
Well,
last
it's gonna
season.
be
What was that for,
interesting.
Wolfie?
It is.
I was trying to find a way to get you in, Billy. I couldn't quite justify it.
Until Man United get knocked out of the Europa League, I'm not saying a fucking word.
Unbeaten in
No.
Europe, might say. Only team to be unbeaten in Europe.
We're
How the
still
fuck
in
that
there.
happen?
We're
I'm-
in Europe. We're unbeaten.
I'm interested to see who's going to get the invite to this show next season. I really can't call it, to be honest. It's going to be mad. It really is. It's going to be wild.
Yeah,
But
we ain't lost in
listen,
Europe this season.
I'm definitely there.
it's going to be interesting. I've just looked
You
at
still got qualifiers to get through yet, Pete. You could come up against Hibs. Don't count your chickens just yet. Don't count your chickens.
always.
just
It's
yet.
always difficult against Hibs, as
I
Billy will
want to
tell
see
you.
the final
Only
guest
you
list
said it's
approved
still
as
going
well
to be a tough
next year,
game. You're
Pops.
fucking 3-1 up against Club Bruges, for God's sake. Jesus Christ, man. But can I just answer Deji's question?
Go on,
initially?
go on, Pete.
Why-
We'll move
why-
after this point. Go on, go on.
Why the trophy meant so much to Bruno and why he was in tears is because Bruno Guimaraes, when he signed for the club in one of his first interviews, said, "I want to write my name in this club history." He'd researched the club history. He knew how long the trophy hadn't been at Newcastle United. And he promised in his time at Newcastle United, he wanted to put a trophy into the cabinet. Not only has he done that, he's done it as captain of this club in his first season. For him, that was beyond his wildest dreams for Newcastle United, to be able to give them something that we hadn't had for 70 years. Now, if it's his last season or not, it doesn't matter. That is him. He's an emotional guy. You'll go through plenty of players that are very emotional in that moment. And for him to realize that and to do that, that is why it means so much to him. Trophies might not mean that much to Tottenham Hotspur, but it means the world to him. The fact that he's been able to provide that for Newcastle United. Whatever happens next, said it to Little Dan earlier in one of our chats. Whatever happens next, happens next. It doesn't matter. Right now, he's created history. He's created a moment that nobody can take away from him or the club. And that is why you saw tears of joy from him.
Imagine if Harry Kane had that mentality. Even England might have a trophy by now.
That's
This
a
is
fact.
true, man.
Can I just
Pete,
quickly
Pete,
say,
you
I
had
know
a
you want
better
to move on,
season
yeah.
than Arsenal.
Hmm?
You had a better season than Arsenal. If
Yeah,
all
if we don't
things
win the
considered,
trophy.
they are
Yeah,
out.
we've put a trophy on. We've put the
Yeah,
trophy in the
I think so.
cabinet.
I think so.
So yeah, we have at this moment in time. And look, if we can get Champions League football as well as a trophy, then absolutely.
Well,
Can I just ask-
when
can I just quickly-
we win the Champions League, you won't have, but you know.
And I was going to ask this. I was going to ask this question actually, and nobody's asked the question. If Arsenal do win the Champions League and Liverpool win the Premier League, who's had the better season?
Well,
Arsenal.
Premier League's harder to win.
No, Champions League is.
Nah.
Arsenal, 100%.
Champions League is you.
But this is why I'm asking.
Champions League's
Errol
above
will
the
agree
Premier
with that.
League.
Errol
They
will
could.
agree with that because you've been there, brother. You've been there.
Arsenal first European trophy,
No, I
first
think-
European Champions League.
I think,
Well, it's a
I think we
pointless
said,
conversation. It's not
didn't we
happening,
say
so.
both pots? Didn't we say we both swap?
All right, Charlie.
Yeah, man. Look, me and Errol will shake hands on that right now.
Yeah,
we win the
we probably
Champions
said-
League and Errol wins the league, I'll shake that right now, man. I'll tell you
probably
that now.
said
And,
league,
and I do mean his hand. Pause. Yeah, I must say I would take that all day long. All day long. Look, I want to move because otherwise the show is going to go on forever. I'll come to LB actually. Was that not the dustiest game you've ever seen in your life? If you watched it, by the way, Arsenal and Chelsea. Oh my God. I have seen some bad games this season. Luckily, I didn't go because I was away this weekend. It was a stinker. And you know what? I was chatting earlier, right? And I thought of you again because all of these Chelsea fans are getting rattled again about me saying they should have bought a striker and they should have bought a goalkeeper and they don't know what they're doing with the money and they've spent £1 billion. And I think you might have even said, not only do you think you would have actually put a better squad together, you actually said that you could actually spend £100 million per position and spend the same amount of money that they've spent. And look at the state of it. I mean, I'm not saying that we are any better, by the way, because we were shocking. However, we didn't have to play well and we beat them. And it was like we were quite comfortably the best side. But Chelsea are a mess. I mean, Pedro Neto up top. The midfield wasn't great. The defence is just all over the place. And that goalkeeper, by the way, is absolute shambles. Look, I'll come to Charlie in a minute, but LB, I'll come to you because I always think of me and you. Whenever we talk about Chelsea, I always think, me and you get a lot of hate about this, but I can't understand how anyone can be still believing that this Chelsea side has been put together well, man.
Well, it's just embarrassing that they're above us in the league. It's crazy. They are awful. Yeah, we said it. Everything that we said in the summer, wasn't it? You know what I mean? The Chelsea fans didn't like it. We said you need to go get a striker. You know what I mean? I called Don out in it today, and he accepted that we were right all along. Do you know what I mean? Osimhen, 26 goals now in Turkey. Do you know what I mean? That was the guy who they should have gone and got, in my opinion, put the ball in the back of the net. They didn't. They'd probably still be in a title race, to be honest, if they would have had him. That goalkeeper, I called this out as well early in the season. He's the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League. But I don't think you can argue it. People try to get onto Muric or whatever. Nah, I think Sanchez is awful. I mean, even yesterday, he just threw the ball at an Arsenal player. I don't know what's wrong with the guy. Defensively, they're all over the gaff. That Colwill ain't top level. I'm telling you now. I called it again, man. I seen him at Brighton. Thought he's just a decent player. He ain't nothing special. He ain't taking Chelsea anywhere. Midfield unbalanced. Attack crap, manager out of ideas, and when I watch them play, I don't get what they're meant to be doing. I don't understand the football. So listen, I'm looking at their fixtures. I'd be amazed if they get Champions League. If they don't get Champions League, I think he's going to be under pressure because you know what I mean. Like the fall off that they've had. I mean, there was in a title race about 3 months ago. You know what I mean? The fall off been crazy. He's got to win the Conference League. But I say again. If you were to give me £1.5 billion to spend at Chelsea, I would have had better players. I would have had better players. I'd have them challenging for a league. Yeah, 1.5 billion. Bro, it's crazy. Like, I legitimately the biggest waste of money in football we've ever seen. It is absolutely ridiculous. So just crap. And yeah, they're above us right now, but I don't think they'll be above us by the end of the season because the fixtures are disgusting. And when I watch them play,
fixtures are rough, man.
Useless, mate.
They got the worst fixtures, I think, out of a lot of the teams on this
By a
panel.
mile.
But Deji, I know you got to shoot, my bro. Big up to you for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, mate. And Ange Postecoglou out, bruv. Yeah,
He needs to leave immediately, man. I don't want to see him again.
Well, what terminal is it? What terminal?
Well, it's Terminal 3. I've checked it out, man. Everything's in place. I've got security, red carpets. I just want this brother gone.
Just remind where the flights to. Just remind us where the flights to.
All right, straight to Melbourne.
Okay.
It's a direct flight as well. Qantas Airlines. It's all been checked out.
Deji, you could just send him to Greece. It'd be cheaper.
It would be, but I need him out of Europe.
Love, bro. Take care, Dej. Next time, man.
Edge.
In a bit, bro. Look, I've got to be real, Charlie. That was the dustiest game, and you went to it, right? I mean, it was poor, bruv.
Yeah, it was awful, mate. Probably the worst game I've ever been to be honest. Didn't expect, mate. Went exactly as I expected it to go. Two teams that missing attacking players. Two teams that got no goals in them at the moment. Two teams, obviously, we're in worse form than you, but you hadn't won in your last 3 league games either. And I don't really know what people are expecting with, your 2 best attackers missing, our 3 top scorers missing. Were people expecting free-flowing attacking football from that game? Because I certainly wasn't. Yeah, we were poor. We didn't create any chances. We're going long to Pedro Neto, expecting him to hold it up like he's prime Drogba against Gabriel and Saliba. Was never going to happen. He's telling Reece James to do a man marking job on Declan Rice. That was never going to work. We actually defended all right. We didn't really have much to defend. Obviously, the one thing that we didn't defend led to the goal. Is crap from Colwell. Probably should go to the back post. It's poor from Sanchez. If he just stays in his goal, he probably saves that. And it's terrible from James and Nkunku to let Marino have a free run. Other than that, I think you had one chance in the second half where Sanchez makes actually a decent save for once from Marino. Other than that, there was no chances, and it was an awful game. One of the worst games of the season by far.
Yeah,
I
it really
fell
was,
asleep.
man. It really was.
I was
terrible.
The Premier League, man. The Premier League games these days, man, they're so crap, man. Yeah,
I was having an argument with this today, LB. Don and Mo think it's a really top quality league.
I think it's
I was the only
competitive
one
and
on the
everyone's
panel.
crap.
I was the only one on the panel who said it's competitive, but it's nowhere near the levels it used
The
to be. in the
quality,
90s.
man, is
Only the big
crazy.
games. LB, I only think the big games are because they're built up. They're hyped up to be some massive
Build
games.
them up too much.
And they always under-deliver. It's very rare that you get a big game with the so-called top 6 or those considered bigger teams. It's very rare that you get a really entertaining game of football because
Even that one, Pete, Arsenal-Chelsea, they were like, who's the big? Is it red or blue? Like, who cares, man? They're both dusted at the moment. Like,
Mate,
nobody gives a
Arsenal-Chelsea's
damn,
dead
man.
fixture
Like,
now. It's crap.
honestly, that fixture.
I
awful.
didn't invested interest in that Arsenal-Chelsea game, obviously, because of watching, because ultimately,
Did you support us, Pete? Did you want us to win, Pete?
We wanted Chelsea to drop points, and we're glad that it happened. Obviously, there's teams around here that would have been happy with that. Villa, Forest, ourselves.
No, I was back in Chelsea, bro.
Dad's always happy with Chelsea losing. But look, in reality, it was a horrible game of football to watch. It was
awful.
It was so bad. But I'll be honest with you, not just that game in isolation. I'm looking at a lot of the big games this season with these top 6 clubs. I've not really seen many of those big games that have been actual decent football games. So I think it's been like this for a couple of years now.
Congrats, brother Pete.
Love Errol.
Safe,
Take care, my bro.
Yeah,
Big up tonight, man. Big up tonight. Well done, bro.
Yeah, but do you not think the problem is Pep? Because Pep came in and
Mo
it was
said this
scintillating.
earlier.
Do you know what I'm saying? And then everyone's tried to copy him.
Yeah. I
And
don't
then
know
they
if I
can't
get
do
it.
it.
I
It's
don't
not
really
Pep's
know.
fault,
if I
by the
get
way.
it, though.
Pep's not managing all 20 teams. He's managing one
And
team.
this is my
No, I
point,
said they
LB.
tried to copy him. I'm saying they're trying to
Yeah.
copy him and they can't
Yeah, but that's
do
not
what
his
Pep
fault.
did.
They're saying it's
Huh?
Pep's fault, but it's not Pep's fault. It's Pep's style, which everyone's tried to copy, and they've copied it badly. So now it's
Yes.
the same with it. That's
But
what
that
I think
style's
it is.
arguably that style is potentially a bit dated now anyway.
Potentially.
I-
It will be dated again.
I
But
honestly
3 of
think
the
fixture
Cartel
congestion
6
plays a
are
big
Pep.
part of it.
What does?
Fixture congestion.
I
The
know
amount
fixtures
of
were the same.
games.
The fixtures were the
No,
same.
No,
man,
no,
no.
but they're
Fixtures are fine.
they're not
No,
having
but-
breaks like they used to, though, are they?
Yeah,
We
but
never
would we
used
have
to
had
have
a
breaks.
When
do
did
you
you
think
get the
we would have
breaks?
had a
in
better-
the
Never
past?
got breaks.
Yeah, but do you think we would have had a better Chelsea Arsenal, right, if neither side had played in Europe in midweek with the same?
So what do I do? Get rid
personnel?
of European games?
I don't think it would have been any better. I think it still would have been just.
Hold on, you're fighting to get into Europe and then you're crying about getting into Europe. I don't buy this crap. I'm sorry. But
No one's buying. No one's saying that. All Billy was trying to say is like the point he's making. If I'm not wrong, is that could the quality of this game been better if Arsenal and Chelsea hadn't played on the Wednesday and the Thursday before?
you know
that
how
game?
the quality would have been better if you bought players, a striker.
You look at that throughout. But you look at that throughout a season as well, though, and the amount of games that these people or these players are playing. And I get that it may have been the same back as or similar back then, but I think the demand and the level and the quality that these players are playing at is superior to what it was. And I think to play Monday or to play Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Tuesday every single week.
Billy.
That's been happening for the last 30 years, Bill.
Yeah.
And now you've got sports science.
I just think that I just think that the demand that these players are going through. I think you look at injuries and things like
trying
that.
to do it.
What about 20 years ago, though? 20 years ago, they were going to do the same thing.
I think the difference is, I kind of understand where Billy's coming from. I don't totally agree with what you're saying.
It's a higher intensity, though, isn't it, Paul?
I think it's the international.
This is the thing, yeah.
The internationals are killing it, if I'm honest. The
Hang on a minute.
international.
You saying it's a higher intensity. So hang on a minute. Like 20 years ago, yeah, when United were fighting it out with like Arsenal and then going to Juventus midweek, when the Italian league was class. And by the way, the travel, the planes wouldn't have been as good as then. The recovery wouldn't have been as good. The nutrition, the diet, everything 20 years ago was worse.
Herbal's listen to me. This is my point. It's this what's killing
Could you also add quickly, sorry, Potts, could you also add, LB, that actually the quality of players in general, was that better 20 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe it's partly down to that as well.
But they added internationals. What added internationals? What the internationals?
The
Nations League just used to be friendlies.
We don't need an international in September. And then
October and November.
Nah, I agree.
That was there. That's been there forever, isn't it? I swear that's been there forever.
Yeah, but that will then have a knock-on effect for those top elite players later on.
That was there. That's always been there.
That was always there. Yeah.
That was always there.
Would you not agree then? Would you not agree then? So I agree with you. It's always been there. But would you not agree that the game is far more intense in terms of its football now?
You're allowed bigger. So hang on, whoa, you're allowed more subs now, bigger squads to these places, and it completely cancels it out.
It's the complete opposite.
Thing is fair because like the friendlies that used to be friendlies, no one cared about, but now it's Nations League games, and you don't normally play Liechtenstein or whatever. You play Holland or you play Portugal or you play France, or whatever. It's all crap. No one cares, but obviously the managers care and the players care, right? So you've got that. You've got another. You've got 8 Champions League games now instead of 6 in this new format.
Plus the playoffs. Plus the playoffs as well.
Plus the playoff games that you have to play. So it kind of, I'm not going to poo-poo what Billy's saying, by the way. I think it is, I'm not going to say I agree with it, but I understand where Billy's coming from.
Not the reason, though. That's not the reason.
But then you look at... Sorry.
When you actually, let me just land it, because I've been trying to land it for about 5 minutes. When you actually do look at what, I know I've forgotten what it is.
Oh, bloody hell. One of them
ones. Move on. I've forgotten what it is now.
I think they're overprotected. I think they're overprotected.
They are overprotected.
Yeah, I think if they played more, they would probably be fitter and could last longer and what have you. All this,
sorry, quickly,
where's the field gone?
One thing you could say, though, right, is that I do think, and it's a fair point, other leagues help out their teams in Europe. So, like, in Europe, so some teams, if they're playing Champions League on a Tuesday, they'll put their game on a Friday night. If they're playing on a Wednesday,
I've seen you in the Champions League without.
PSG. You're saying that the smaller clubs in the Premier League should be punished. You're saying that the smaller clubs should be punished and play.
All the other leagues help out there.
So Charlie, how did Man U win it back in the 2000s?
Sure. But what I'm saying is though, the other leagues do more to help their teams.
How about the clubs help themselves by building a bigger squad? A City have exploited Rodri for the last 3 years. And now he's done an ACL. Fucking Arsenal, we've been saying for 2 years, get a right winger, get a right winger, get a right winger. Saka's going to go down, Saka's going to go down. What did they do? They cheap out, which is what City did with Gundogan. Arsenal cheaped out. They got Sterling on a loan, sat there and went, look at a great deal we got. They never wanted Sterling in the first place. They did it just to please the fan base. The clubs don't do what they should. They've got 25-man squad for a reason. None of them use it. There's 5 subs. The amount of times we've all seen it, my manager's done it as well, that they'll play 90 minutes and sometimes you go through the whole 90 minutes, not one single sub has been made. Also, when players come back from injury, 90 minutes. I've seen it pure times with big players. If you look at big players, and have a look at their injuries, when they come back from injury, straight away they're back in the team. They're not on the bench, brought on for 10 minutes, next game 15, straight in. These players are exploited by the clubs. So the clubs need to take some responsibility here as well. The clubs will sit there and the manager will sit there and they all do it. They moan about the games. They moan about all the competitions. How about you make some subs? How about you buy some players and build a proper squad? None of them do it.
Well said.
I agree with that.
You said about the Club World Cup in the summer.
I also agree with that.
But you prefer the Club World Cup.
That's a one-off.
No, it's a one-off though. But do you not think because the Club World Cup one's what, June 13th to July 14th, right?
Month, basically.
Runs for a month. If you get there's basically like that's going to disrupt the preseason. Do you think
Yeah,
for
but we
like
haven't
the
played
likes
that
of
yet,
maybe
Charlie.
Chelsea,
Charlie,
City-
your point is about Arsenal and Chelsea being a poor.
Yeah, I wasn't making that, but
game.
I'll just.
This hasn't even happened yet. This hasn't even happened yet.
I
Okay.
was just going to say I agree with what LB said. Actually, I completely sort of.
No, I do. I think LB
I've done
talked
180
about
on it. The reason being is because we employed when we got Paul Mitchell in as sporting director. He brought over one of his mates, James Bunce, who is a fitness expert. And he basically, when Paul Mitchell went to AS Monaco had like 30 plus injuries, like pretty much their whole squad was decimated. They brought in James Bunce, and he literally turned their injury situation around, and he made them like literally a fitness monster as a squad. And they've just gone from pillar to post in terms of like changing around their injury status. Newcastle United, he's done exactly the same this season. There's been times where players were expected to come back and play like 90 minutes or play most of the game, and they've been taken off at a certain point. We're going, why are they taking them off? But the longevity of that player being able to play long term has actually helped the club so much. And James Bunce has completely changed it around. Like you're looking at, of course, things like what's happened to Lewis Hall, Sven Botman. They can't be helped, but they're literally the only injuries we've got in our squad. It's just that our squad is small. We've not had a lot of injuries this season, and James Bunce is I've been saying it for weeks on our channel. He's an unsung hero for us. You see him in all the pictures, but you won't know who he is. But he basically tells Eddie Howe how long we should be playing players for. And how and when they should be taken off. And I don't know if you guys listened to Eddie Howe's interview after the game, but when people were talking about, why is he Zach playing? Why is he Zach not playing away at Liverpool when we played him at Anfield and got beat? Oh, is he injured? Is he not? Eddie Howe came out and basically said, like, that was all part of the plan. Like, he was absolutely fine.
But I think there's also.
I think that's too much, though.
On that, though,
but that managed his minutes though, because he's played.
Yeah.
People talk about him being injury prone. He's not. He's played a hell of a lot of football this season. He's had to because Wilson's been injured. But what we've done at times, we've managed his minutes really well.
I also think
early and managed him, which is why he's had.
Yeah, you haven't had Europe. You haven't had Europe.
We haven't had Europe. You're absolutely right. But we've gone long in both competitions, so we've still had a lot of football to play over the course of the season. We've not had Europe, but we've gone deep in both competitions.
A massive thing as well is that I think a lot of managers don't listen to the medical staff either. Like they will play players longer than they
agree
should.
With that, Charlie.
They just don't. They just don't. How many times do we see players being rushed back? They get injured. There's no way medical staff are telling them, ease these guys back in. If you're the manager and the medical staff saying this guy should only play 20 minutes, but you've got a massive game and you need 3 points for something, or it's a semi-final or whatever, you're playing that guy. And if he gets injured and you get through, that's just the risk you take. So I think there's a lot of, I would say, there's probably miscommunication, and there's a lot of managers that ignore what medical staff are advising them as
Charlie,
well.
It is not true that Arsenal brought Saka on at like Bolton or something when they were 3-0 up, or Preston.
Yeah,
Preston, mate. Preston.
Right. So what? So what's going on there?
Crazy.
Why are you bringing on
Palace
Saka?
did it last season. Was it Elise? They subbed him on. He got injured.
Why on earth did bring Saka on? What game was it, Paul? What
Preston.
So it's 3-0. We were 3-0 up. He brought Saka on. He started him against Bolton in the Carabao Cup. We were 4-0 up, 5-0 up against Lens last season, and he stayed on the whole game. Crazy.
So
that sort of stuff is just
there?
that's Arteta like that. That's the manager. That's just ridiculous. There's no care in the world.
There needs to be more player care, though, doesn't there?
Yeah.
Surely we can all agree
so the
with that.
managers need to learn what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing.
But there needs to be a bit more balls from the players.
Arteta.
I guarantee there's loads of players who won't play because they got a cold or a runny nose or things like that. You didn't have this in the 2000s, man,
but there's
or
also
in the 70s or whatever. You just played. Could you imagine Roy Keane not playing because he had a runny nose or what have you? There's too much protection for me. There's too much protection. I miss the days when the managers felt it, where a player and a manager would just communicate and be like, right, we'll try you 60 minutes. Let's communicate then how you feeling after 60. It's too sports sciencey now.
Look, Dan, I know you got to shoot, bruv. Thank you so much, mate. Always a pleasure. And nice good to meet you, mate. Enjoyed that.
All the best.
See you later, bruv.
Take
Love,
these,
man.
mate.
Let's close on this. Got some super chats, but I don't want to ask because obviously we've got this. We have really got a race for Europe this season. I reckon from all the times we've actually done and titled this show, this is the one that's the closest, and this is the one that I
Thank
can't.
God there is, mate. You know
I
what I mean?
really can't. I know there's nothing else, but there's. I don't know what to talk about. If I'm honest, I don't know how to call this. I really don't know how to call this. I think Newcastle, Forest are fine. Newcastle, I think Villa, I think. And then I don't know what to say about. I mean, I don't think Chelsea are going to do it. I look at them and I just think they're the ones. I don't think they will get Champions League. The way they're playing at the moment and their fixtures are just not going to be favourable. But you never know. And then City, I think they'll be all right, but I don't really know what's going on.
The way I summarise it is right. I think City are probably playing the worst, if not second worst, to Chelsea, but have the favourable fixtures. I think Chelsea have the hardest fixtures, but are in the best position because they're currently fourth. And Newcastle have the sort of middle fixtures, but are probably the best team, like at the moment, out of the three. And then obviously you got your Brightons and stuff, and you know you see what's going. I was surprised Brighton time wasting against us, which I was very surprised to see. I thought, like, why did they time waste? Like, surely they would want to beat us, no? Well, that was a bit weird, to be honest.
Yeah, it was at the Etihad though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were trying to get Champions League.
Yeah, true. And they've been on great
I think
form.
they're happy
Didn't they win
with Europe.
6 in a row, I think?
They're not trying to get Champions League. They're trying to get Europe.
Yeah,
They're on the same points as you.
They're not. Brighton have these moments where they'll have a good run of fixtures where they'll play well, but then I've had this conversation with Adam before, like, and Adam's admitted it as well. Like, Brighton will have these moments where they'll have good form, but then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, they'll just have an absolute dip and they'll just drop points where you never ever expect it to happen. And Brighton, look, you look at that, four wins on the bounce. They've had to do that. They've had to be that consistent to put themselves back in the mix, but quite easily and quite as quickly as they put that form together. And this is not from me. I've had this conversation with Adam, and he said exactly the same. As quickly as that run of 4 wins in a row will put them back in the mix, they'll have four draws or 4 losses that will put them out of the mix again. Like that's the thing with Brighton. And
Pete, you're spot on, Pete, because everyone was saying the same about Bournemouth about a month ago. Oh, look at Bournemouth, they're winning. They went on a streak, and now look at them, no winning 4.
What are you saying, Wolfie? What are you saying, Wolfie, for top 5?
I think the top 3 are done. I think us, you, and obviously Liverpool are done. I think it's between Man City and Newcastle. I think Chelsea's fixtures are going to catch up with them. They don't have the attack for it. I actually think Newcastle get it, if I'm being honest with you.
I think it'll be Man City, Newcastle, 4th, 5th. Yeah.
I think that's what it will be.
So what you think? You think Chelsea fall out? Yeah.
Chelsea fall out. Without an attack, then they can't go into those fixtures and expect to win. I think Chelsea would need to win 4 or 5 in the spin. I don't think they're going to do it. I think your fixtures are easy enough. The only thing LB I worry about is your team's mentality now, for me, looks shot.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. Yeah, but people keep saying this, yeah. In the last, 15 games, the only 3 games we've lost in the league is Forest, Arsenal, Liverpool.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, it's something I was watching,
everybody else.
Something you said on your stream the other day really hit home. The thing you said about when someone hands their notice in and you got that 4-week period where you ain't giving 100%. Do you know what I mean? I see that with a lot of your players. I thought, you know what, that was a good analogy.
Yeah, no, not that, but we're still getting points against the teams.
Yeah, I still think you scrape over. I think out of those, I stop really at Newcastle, and I think Chelsea's the one that drops out. I think Brighton won't have enough, Fulham won't have enough, Villa.
I think the Champions League will kill Villa there.
So we play a lot of the teams around us as well. Looking at our fixtures here, we've got Brighton in the league next, then Forest, Southampton, Newcastle, Man City, Fulham, Bournemouth, Spurs, and
in
United.
and around PSG. If I was a Villa fan, in my mentality would be I'm just focused on the Champions League, like PSG now. We've got
the FA Cup quarterfinals to think about as well. Away to
that as well. I'd almost sat the league off.
Yeah,
the main thing is
I get why you're saying that, but we've virtually got a fully fit squad now. I think it's only Ross Barkley. We've got a lot of players that are back fit, ready to go for the rest of the season. Pau Torres is back now.
League has to be third priority.
We could have a very strong end to the season.
Sure. But wouldn't
You're
it be,
only
Billy,
like
wouldn't it
one
be-
win off fourth as well, Billy. Really,
Wouldn't
when
it
you
be
look-
easier
Exactly.
though? Would it be easier to say? Wouldn't it be easier for Villa to win the FA Cup and get Europa League that way rather than through the league?
Yeah,
that'd be better.
yeah, we probably could. Yeah, but I don't think it's as easy as just sacking the league off.
No,
Just
no,
look at how
look at how
tight it is.
You know what I mean, though. Like priorities for me would be Champions League, FA Cup League.
I'd probably agree with you to a certain extent, LB. But I think the league is still so important because if we can beat Brighton, we immediately jump above them. We're then on 48 points. We then play Forest at home. We've got a great record at Villa Park at the minute. I don't think we've lost there in 17, 18 games or something. You know, we can have a really strong end
But you're
to the
coming
season.
from a long way back. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, of course we are. And the obvious
I think
goal
4
difference
points.
doesn't help either. But
yeah, I guess
I
it's
still-
looking
I
at
still
our
think-
salary, yeah.
mention, by the way.
Billy,
Fulham
what are
are
your
the
next
mention.
three or four games? What did it? I know you just said a minute ago. What are they again?
next 3 games are Brighton
Premier
away, Forest at home, Southampton away.
If you get 9 points, you're banging it.
Yeah.
That
you've got to put a run
that
together,
Southampton
yeah.
game is between the 2 PSG games.
Oh, that's good. That's what you want.
And then I think it's Newcastle after the second leg of the PSG game.
I don't see like Brighton are getting a lot of praise, as are Bournemouth, as are Forest, of course. Fulham, man, they're just no one's mentioning
No
them. Not
one
that I think they're going to
mentions
get it, but they deserve a hell
They're
of a
just
mention.
plodding along, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're
man,
flying
they
under
just-
the radar.
They're too
Just look at their
inconsistent.
form pots. You look at their form. It's kind of win one, lose one, win one, lose one. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
But that could actually be enough to get European
Yeah.
football. It's almost semi-consistent. Like the rest of us are either having a run of bad games or a run of good games. Like it's either one or the other. You just have to be semi-consistent, which is why Brighton have come from nowhere. It goes back to that point. They've had 4 wins in the bounce, and then that draw, and they've come from nowhere where everyone wasn't talking about them. And like that, this is where I think for me, like Newcastle being in the Champions League race, it will be massively dependent on our next 4 games. So we've got Brentford. We're 3 out of the next 4 are at home. So we've got Brentford at home. We've got Leicester away, we've got Man United at home, and then we've got Palace in the rearranged fixture because of the final midweek at home. So we've got 3 out of the next 4. If we can win those 4, we're pretty much there in terms of what we would expect of a points total this season. Because I think we talk about, I think LB you mentioned about sort of 62 to 65 will kind of guarantee you European football, or certainly like Champions League. I think
I'm
you
saying
mentioned
66 for Champions League.
for Champions League, but I think we kind of said like for Europa League something like 62 or whatever. If we got those 4 wins on the bounce, for example, and that's before then we then go to Villa, we're putting ourselves right in the mix there, and we've got a few games. We've got Ipswich to come at home, Chelsea to come at home, which will be a massive game. But we've still got games that we can pick up points from elsewhere. I just think these next 4 for Newcastle United are absolutely massive. And I
The
think
thing is, Pete, you
that would
could
tell us
play
a lot.
yourselves out. That's my worry about Newcastle, because you're hitting 2 teams who are banging form. I think Brentford have gone 5 in a row W's, haven't they? And Crystal Palace as well. I think Crystal Palace finish ahead of Bournemouth, which will be hilarious.
We beat Brentford.
Brentford lost to Villa.
Yeah.
At home.
Haven't they gone?
Yeah,
Scroll down a
no,
bit.
scroll down,
What's their form?
It's away games. I think they've won like 5 on the bounce on the road.
5 on the bounce away.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that
you're
what
right.
it is? Okay. Yeah. But
Do we think differently to me and Wolfie then for the top 5? Does anyone think the difference of the top 5, Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, Man City, Newcastle?
I think that'll be what it is, to be honest with you.
Charlie, I'd
snap your
fire.
hands off for a 6th or 7th finish for Villa.
Like,
Just give me
I'd love
Europa
to
League.
say that we do it. I can't see it with the way that we're playing and with the fixtures that we've got left. Like, we need basically 5 or 6 wins from the last 9 games, and mate, we've got to go to Forest away, Newcastle away, Brentford away. We've got Fulham away still. We got Spurs. We got Spurs, Ipswich, and Everton at home, which is 3 winnable games. But then I don't know where we got there. But then we got United, Liverpool, Newcastle, and Forest last 4 games. Like,
Tough run.
I just don't think we can get enough points. But the only thing that might save us is because everyone else is getting so few points. Like whatever we pick up could end up being enough potentially. Like somehow we're still fourth right now. I know that's not going to stay the same that'll change probably after the international break, but somehow like a small part of me thinks that because we've been there most of the season, somehow we could just end up getting it, and it wouldn't really be deserved.
You could finish outside of Europe. Let's be real. Your form is in the last 5 games. I think you're 15th in the league.
But if we win,
that includes the 2-3 wins of Southampton and Leicester.
Sure. Well, if we win the Conference League, that's Europa League football, which obviously is not. We don't. That's not the aim, but that is obviously an easy way in to Europe next season.
You win that, man. You must win that. You actually must win that.
Chelsea need another run like they did this time last year.
You
went on a crazy run that ended up finishing you 6th. And
it started off well. Just now, it's just gone to pot now, Chelsea.
Yeah, it's gone to shit, yeah.
Right, let me wrap up with these super chats, people. Where are we at? We've got Ronnie, who's these were for Deji. 7 years time, Spurs won't have the best stadium, and the club is allergic to winning trophies. Yeah, I can't lie with that. James says, imagine if during his last 2 years, Pochettino got even half of what Ange got in squad investment. Shameful. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I cannot believe Pochettino didn't get it back after what he was doing. And Ange Postecoglou's been given 400 million euros to spend. LB says Chelsea and City have no break because of the Club World Cup, which we did mention. I think you mentioned that, Charlie. Timmy says games are played at a crazy high intensity, so he agrees with what you were saying. I think it was Billy.
Really?
James is, well, I don't know if I agree with that.
Really?
That's what I said earlier. I said that earlier.
Really?
Well,
I mean, every time we play a team, we basically just camp in their half and they do us on a break. That's what I see when I watch Arsenal. That's what I see when I watch a lot of teams.
So much sideways football right now in the Premier League.
To be fair, you've always changed my mind on that.
I agree. I don't know that it is. James says, Billy, how has Onana been playing? Good or bad?
When he's played, he's been good. But he has been quite injured for quite a bit of the season, unfortunately. But yeah, when he plays, he's been really good, to be fair.
Bro, he's shit.
No, I think he's class.
He came on against Forest and it cost him the match.
I think he's all right. I haven't looked at him and gone wow yet, like some have.
I like
I don't know if he gets into Villa's first team though.
The
if he's
problem
not playing regular football though, it's hard to do.
I mean, the problem he's got is we've got Kamara and Tielemans who are undroppable when they play in there at the minute.
I think Kamara and Tielemans have impressed me more than Onana, yeah. But maybe it's they play
absolutely.
More.
But I think for the period when all 3 of them were fit, which hasn't been often this season, for that period, all 3 of them were playing and Tielemans pushed forward a little bit more. I think it was only a couple of games or so. But yeah, look, we've options. That's the main thing. We've got Preston, PSG, league to worry about at the minute. Options is what we need. Players to come off the bench to see out 10, 15, half an hour of games. So that's all we need at the minute. Just give us options.
You're in a really good position, isn't it? Like you're in the Champions, and I backed Villa on that champion. I think you could beat PSG. Yeah, I think you've got a real chance there. You should be getting through to the semi-finals of that. And like you said, whilst league is probably the third priority,
should be. Did you just say should be?
Should be.
Should be in
the FA Cup.
Yeah. Did you just say we should be beating PSG?
No, you should be beating. You should be beating the FA Cup.
Oh, Preston, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I thought you said we should be beating PSG.
I'm not glazing you that much. I'm not glazing you that much.
I was going to say.
Can Asensio play? Can Asensio play against PSG in the Champions League? He can. Oh, that's ideal. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
He's been quality. He's
been Unai Emery and Asensio going back to Paris. Do you imagine?
Your first game there, bro, in Villa Park. Yeah.
Second legs at Villa Park. First game's in Paris.
Oh, you never know.
It's the right way around.
Oh yeah.
Imagine,
and it will be in the same in the semi-final. Should we get there as well?
Unai Emery goes to PSG and wins, and then he goes to Arsenal. Can you imagine the last 2 clubs that he went to? Wow,
that'd just be poetic.
It's not going to happen because they're not going to beat Madrid, but you know.
Yeah, they just need to get out of that first leg without getting beat by more than 2 goals, man. If they can get out of that, like even if it's 2-0 PSG, I'd still be backing Villa in that second leg, man. I really would, mate.
You got
If
to remember.
PSG are clinical, I think they'll win, but they haven't been.
But they're not.
You got to remember though, PSG, and obviously my brother, he's season ticket holder at PSG. He goes all the time, so like they know that they're desperate for this Champions League. This is the one thing that they've been alluding.
Emery though, Emery man.
Yeah, I know that, but PSG,
Emi Martinez going back to France as well.
And Luis Enrique has been doing a fantastic job at PSG.
He has done a great job.
And nobody's speaking about their sporting director. Luis Campos has completely revamped PSG as a club. Like he has gone back to basics, signing young, youthful talent, mostly from Ligue 1 and mostly French-based players with the odd little sprinkle of quality dust here and there. He's revamped them. This is not a signing all the big stars that PSG were before. They're building a proper
You've seen
team.
that with PSG. They've tried that and it hasn't worked. So they needed a change of direction. And I mean, Dembele is just on fire as well.
This is why I always say, I laugh at people when they say you need these PSR rules because otherwise fucking Newcastle will just go out buy Mbappe and everything. I'm like, bro, PSG have literally done that. It didn't work. They got rid of them all and now they're better.
Yeah, true. I think that midfield at PSG is ridiculous.
Yeah, it challenges Newcastle's that.
Yeah, it does. I mean, Barcola and that Doué look really, really good. Obviously,
I had a question for you. If I had to give you the chance now, you have no midfielders. You can either have Newcastle's midfield or PSG's midfield of Vitinha, Neves, and Fabian Ruiz, or Bruno G, Tonali, and Joelinton. Yeah, I know Pete's going to say, well, what a panel, what's a chat saying? Which one would you take?
I'll probably take the PSG one.
I'd say Newcastle's. Because they're used to the Premier League.
I'll be honest. I've not seen enough of that PSG midfield.
People are sleeping.
To really compare. To be
people
honest
are sleeping on Neves. João Neves. Why no Premier League team signed him? I've got no idea.
You know what's mad, right? Is that when you went to Porto, right? Vitinha was there, and you signed Fabio Vieira instead, and then you've now sent him back there.
It's ridiculous, bro.
I'd probably just take PSG's over.
I would just take PSG's, but I do rate Newcastle's massively.
Just close,
Vitinha is the one that does it for me,
but
I think Vitinha.
I won't expect anything different off you, Pete, mate.
No, we got to back your boys, Pete. Of course. I'd take PSG just because I rate Vitinha that highly. I think he's that good.
He's a joke.
He is going to be.
But here's another thing, right, Potsy? This is why like fucking clubs do my head in, because like. I'm not being funny here. You know, I did a watch-alongs, innit? And I did other random watch-alongs. I did a scout-alongs on the second channel, right? I watched Neves about 18 months ago at Benfica,
Yeah, because you and us were linked with him.
Yeah, we were linked with him. I watched Neves 18 months ago for Benfica, right, in the Europa League, and he played as a 6 on his own in the Europa League. And that guy was quality that day. And I don't understand, right? And I'm not trying to like glaze myself here. Yeah, I just don't understand when like I watch some players and I'm like, they're sick. No one buys them. Someone else will buy them. And it's like, and then they're mint, and you're like, yeah, they were obviously.
I did that with Kvaratskhelia, mate, in January, and I was like, go on in, go get him.
Yeah.
And now look at him, he's absolutely balled
I
out.
saw him on Whoosh as well.
Osimhen, bro, Osimhen in the summer, like I was fucking telling Chelsea, go buy him. He's shit. He's got
20 goals now. 20 goals in 22, apparently.
Yeah, 6 Europa League goals as well. He's just got a hat trick this weekend.
Boys, everyone did the same with Pancho at Frankfurt. Nobody even knew who he was. Nobody even knew who Pancho was until that first leg against Liverpool, and everyone's going, "Who's this Pancho?" The guy was fucking class at Frankfurt, absolutely fucking class.
Bro, this Russ guy in the chats knows what he's talking about. Unfortunately, unfortunately, football's gone down a stats-based
numbers.
I tell you what, this is the truth. Yeah, there needs to be. I'm all good for that. If the clubs want to do the data thing, that's cool. But clubs need to still have scouts who watch players with the eyes and just go baller. You know what I mean? Get him in, because that João Neves is a fucking baller. Do you know what I mean? I'll tell you now. Yeah, I watched the under-20s South American tournament. Yeah, in January. The amount of players in that tournament who are ballers, and they're all going to be here. Bournemouth have just signed a Sola left back. We've got Echeverri. Yeah, Subiabre, he's a fucking baller. Roberto, there's so many talented players coming out of South America right now. Yeah. Them, I'm telling you, mate, they're going to be absolutely fine. Go and get them.
Why do you think we are where we are? Because our scouting network in South America.
Well, Ash's comment.
Murillo, Danilo, all them.
This is the problem. a lot of the big six teams are fucking lazy. All they do is wait for who's being talked about in the media, and they'll just throw money at that player.
Did you see that article that came out?
Diligence. They don't do their research on a player. They look at, say, for example, if Man City are looking at a player, and they'll go, "Oh, Man City are looking at them, so they must be good," and they'll just go and throw loads of
it's proven. Some guy did an article, and said legit he's been told by clubs that they sit on Twitter and follow the tacticals and just see who they're talking about, and then when they see that is actually what they do. Sit there in the data room and go, "Oh, fucking Echeverry season's talking about this guy from fucking South America, 19. Let's have a look at him." It's like,
but you know what's mad as well with the data thing, right? That's fine, but no numbers are going to give you mentality, decision making, leadership qualities, or whatever. But don't give you anything. All right, it might tell you a bit about a player, but all the intangibles that are so important in a top player, then the data don't give you that. As Obi said, the good old fashioned eye test has just disappeared, and everything's just numbers. It's just
Pete's right. Like the laziness, I'd go a step further. If you look at Chelsea, you just buy Brighton's best players after they've been tested dead. Do you know what I mean? Why aren't you sending them to Source and just got your scouting network out?
Well, we are trying to now.
They do data on that though, don't they, Brighton?
They do have data. Yeah,
it's all
some algorithm.
Yeah, green.
By the way, how's no one else spotted Baleba? Surely someone else must have spotted Baleba before Brighton.
Apparently, United could have got.
There are teams that scout the players that get linked to Brighton. That's how lazy it's got as well.
That's what they do.
That was Casado, wasn't it?
Brighton. Yeah, United could have got Casado for $5 million. I mean, Baleba is going to be the next one that's going to be like the next big thing at Brighton. Will be Baleba.
But you've heard about it, innit? Moyes talked about how they bought players based off of Football Manager. Like, it's not even like fake news. Like, they actually do. Managers have spoke about it in the past. Like, they use these databases and stuff, but like nothing will be someone watching a full game of football and looking and say, he was crap, baller. Because I'm not being funny, you know, innit? When you see a player, you know. Do you know what I mean?
Eye test never fails, man. The eye test never fails. That's for sure. Listen, people, we're going to wrap up there. Big up to every single one of you guys, man. Absolute legends. Please make sure you support tonight's sponsors, Football Prizes. Make sure you head over to them. Links in the description. They've got unbelievable opportunities, particularly with the Arsenal one for all you gooners out there at the moment. They've got an unbelievable prize. It's the best one they've done since I've been following Football Prizes, to be fair. So make sure you go check that one out and get in for that one. We've got last super chat of the night, which is Baleba coaches someone at City's Academy.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Really?
We've got a guy, like under 16s or something, and Baleba coaches. I think he's the same nationalities or something.
Wow.
Same nationality as him. And like Baleba like reviews his footage or whatever and tells him what to do and shit like that. Pretty mad, really.
That is mad because he's young himself, Baleba. I believe he is anyway. So, listen, big up, man. Big up to every single one of you. Big up to the guys that had to shoot off. Big up to Deji. Make sure you're following Deji Spurs. Make sure you're following Errol and Redmen TV. Make sure you're following Dan United as well. We've got Wolfie, Forest Fan TV. Big up to you, my bro. Pete, big up to you. And again, mate, well done. Loaded Mag and UFC. We've got It's LB. We've got Billy at AV Billy. And we've got Charlie at Blue Brothers CFC. Make sure you're following every single one of these guys. This is going to send you over to Northside. He's live at the moment. So please make sure you go show him some love and go raid. And we will see you next time, people. Take it easy. We're out of here.